Well, guys, we are back for another episode of the Liberal Asshole Show, episode 138. And what are today's topics?
The big one, Charlie Kirk assassinated. Brian Kilmede advocates killing homeless people. How not to write a female villain. Sexist Karen running for office. Reacting to Gen Z poll, an important to personal definition of success. Ukrainian refugee train murder shows true colours. And Bernie Sanders educates naive MAGA.
Oh boy, a lot of topics to talk about. Potentially one more if I get really annoyed enough. So, let's get on to it. What do we talk about first?
We'll start with the big one, the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
As of course, the day after I had to focus on my first day of work, so I didn't really pay attention this much and all that. But of course, Charlie Kirk, the piece of shit that we make fun of all the time because he's such a fucking moron, was assassinated at a college thing he was doing and such, and he died afterwards from it. It took several days to catch who killed him and all that because the FBI and all the police enforcement are fucking incompetent fucks and required the guy's dad making him turn himself in, which shows how incompetent the police and FBI are. Thanks, Cash Patel, piece of shit. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
and yet you've seen the him getting roasted over the last few days.
Who?
About the Epstein files.
Oh yeah, of course. So yeah. So Kirk got killed and all that. I already saw the footage, and people were saying how impossible to watch it is and all that. For me, it was very simple. It didn't affect me whatsoever. Guys, I watch police activity every day, and I see police shoot out with suspects. I've seen even more gorier stuff in the Russo-Ukrainian war. Let's see. Ukrainian troops executed in most gruesome ways possible. Ukrainian women getting raped by Russian Nazis. And of course, I posted this in the server earlier. Something that's honestly even more grotesque. The other day, on one of the OSINT channels I watch, Russian Nazis gleefully killed a horse in Ukraine.
Ah, for fuck's sakes, a horse.
Yeah, it was really, really bad. I strongly recommend don't watch it. You'll get really mad. It was disgusting. Ugh, just think about that. That offended me more than what happened to Kirk. Kirk was tame in comparison. Sorry, people, if it stuns you, I'm not shocked by it. I'm just not. Gore and all that I'm like too, what's the word?
Numb to it.
Yeah, numb to it. So yeah. Now, of course, we got a lot of stuff to talk about here, and got 2 potentially free videos on this. So, of course, we're going to get to the main thing that and I'm going to bring up the exact same thing we said when Trump had his assassination attempt last year. We, of course, condemn it. It's unacceptable. Violence is unacceptable. And all that. Yeah. However, that does not mean we're going to be glazing Charlie Kirk like all the right is now doing, and we're not going to fall in line with what they say. No. Kirk was a piece of fucking shit. He sucked, and he's evil, like Trump. I do not have any sympathy for him whatsoever. I have sympathy for his family, though, because they're innocent at regard, but not him. Yep. He's evil, and he's a piece of shit. Fuck Charlie Kirk. May I remind you all, when we last covered him, he went on a misogynistic meltdown rant towards Taylor Swift, where he demanded that she must submit.
Remember that?
Remember he screamed that she needs to submit to her husband? Yeah, sorry. If you advocate that, you're a misogynistic piece of shit. It's not debatable. It's wrong. Remember, of course, last year when he had his even bigger meltdown with Taylor Swift, obsessing about her eggs and all that, and other creepy, degenerate, misogynistic crap? Sorry, not debatable. You're a bad person if you talk about it. Remember when we covered how he said he was afraid of black pilots because of DI bullshit and all that? Black pilots are trained just as well as everyone else. If you're afraid of black pilots, you are racist. It's not debatable. Get over it, Karen. Oh my god. And of course, other stupid shit where he demonized the LGBT community and such. Yeah. Fuck Charlie Kirk. He's a piece of shit person, and I will never have sympathy for bad people. You are a bad person if you are all the isms. I'm sorry. And I'm not ever gonna silence my criticism of Kirk. Ever. Which, I'm getting mad enough, we might cover one of his last debates, too, recently. Which I was gonna save till next time, out of respect, but nah, he pissed me off too much. We're going to rip him a new one later on after this. Now, despite...
Okay, big thing I need to point out is that if anything, it should be white pilots you should be a little more nervous about, because black pilots have to overcome the institutional and existential racism of America to get to that point. So they have to work extra hard and be extra qualified.
I think that's too hard for him to figure out, though.
Well, he can't figure anything out because he's dead.
But yeah, as I was saying, despite all the shit we've criticized him for, rightfully so, that does not mean he should be killed. He should be able to say all the stupid bullshit that he wants, and then we criticize him for it. Hey, that's actual free speech, pal. How about that one? And of course, the right has gone full hyperdrive, trying to censor everyone that criticizes him, and saying, if you criticize him, you're worshiping his death and all that. No. You criticize him.
You can condemn his death and also say that he's a terrible person, and also point out that when Charlie Kirk said that some amount of deaths is acceptable to protect the Second Amendment, I bet he didn't stop to think that he would be one of those deaths.
I mean, hey, that's the price for a Second Amendment. Sorry, people. That's what he said, and you're going to have to deal with what he said. Now, as I was trying to say before I was interrupted, conservatives have gone hyperdrive over this, demanding everyone censor what they say about him. They say any criticism of him means you celebrate his death and all that. No, you can criticize him and still be against him being killed and all that. It's not that hard. And all the conservatives are now acting like SJWs, cancel culturing people, trying to get them fired from their jobs and all that. Which, hey, they use the argument, hey, free speech doesn't protect him from consequences. True. All the people that worship his, happy about his death and all that, and they're fired about it, they're going to have to live with the consequences. But that also applies to you conservatives. When you say something stupid and you don't like it, and you get fired too for it. It goes both ways. Like that stupid fuck Nazi that debated Mehdi Hassan, remember, several months ago when he got fired.
And then he was like, I got fired by my Jewish bar, by my kike bar.
So, yeah.
Please pay me.
So, yeah. It's not debatable.
Or the Karen who got several $100,000 for calling a black kid the N slur.
Yep, pretty pathetic and all that. But yeah, guys, like we said, it's unacceptable what happened to Kirk and all that, but that doesn't excuse what his actions are. He's a piece of shit, and he will always be a piece of shit, and I will never, ever, ever lower my criticism of him. Ever. You're going to sit there, and you're going to fucking deal with it. Do you understand me? So now,
don't mold seeds, dilate L+ ratio.
So now we're going to get into 2 videos first of Kirk that I think were really good and does a very good job explaining some stuff and also makes fun of the right in another video. First, and both these 2 people I don't think I've ever had on Last Yet. The first one is Vlogging Through History, who is a YouTube historian I watch who's really good. And I'll also add too, he's actually a conservative, too, that we're about to watch. Huh? However, he's not a dipshit MAGA retard like Trump and all the Charlie Kirk and all their fucking retard asses are.
It's more like someone like Potholer54, who's like leans right-wing economically, but is more libertarian-ish.
Yeah, he's more focused on history, and he makes fun of conservatives when they say something really stupid and all that. So, yeah, pretty good. And probably one of the few conservatives I have any sort of respect for that I know of. So let's watch his video, because this video was really, really, really good. And this is also like right after, like a few hours after the assassination happened. So most of the stuff a lot of stuff he's going to talk about wasn't known yet. So keep that in mind, people.
Hey everybody. Already been getting comments from people just asking me to share my thoughts on what I think most people have heard about by now, the murder of Charlie Kirk at an event today. Just up front, I gotta say, for those who don't already know me, I'm a historian, I'm a Christian, I am a center-right conservative, though I'm not what you would describe as MAGA. I'm not a Trump supporter, didn't vote for Donald Trump, and
have a lot of respect for any conservative that doesn't vote for Trump. It shows to me that you know that there's a limit to how far of the stupidity you can go. Thank you.
Been pretty vocal in my opposition to some of the rhetoric that I've seen come out of Donald Trump and others. So I'm saying all that up front. I could also say that really not all that familiar with Charlie Kirk. Most of what I know about Charlie Kirk I've learned in the last couple of hours. He wasn't somebody I ever really followed. My daughter knew a lot more about him than I do. Of course, she's 20 years old. She's of that generation. But I do know people who knew him.
Oh yeah, something else I forgot to mention too. Something that hit a little bit home to me as well about Kirk being assassinated. As I've mentioned before, did you all know that Charlie Kirk is literally 16 days older than me?
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Which one, first off, what the fuck, Kirk? How'd you end up being like a disgusting piece of shit when I ended up fine 16 days younger than you? How the fuck did that happen? How the fuck did you become a piece of shit unlike me? And also, it got me think about shit like, damn, all my life, gone just like that pretty much, just like him. We have, like, the exact same, like, time span, probably. Also remind me of, Ukrainian soldier that was killed very early on in the Russian invasion that was, like, 1 week younger than me. Like, very thought-provoking thinking about that.
I have a common friend.
Makes you realize there's a good chunk of the V8 supercar field is younger than me.
I'm with him and spoke very highly
quite something
of him today on social media and sharing his thoughts on what was happening. And it's a person that I respect a lot. So I say all of that to say that I'm not coming at this from a place of being someone who would traditionally be someone who would follow the likes of Charlie Kirk and ideologically necessarily always agree with him. But I share this because before Charlie Kirk, we had, of course, just a couple of months ago, we had the murder of someone on the left in Minnesota, and
which may remind you, conservative
lawmaker.
Yep, the Minnesota lawmakers, and may I remind you, conservatives made fun of them for that, including Charlie Kirk. Yep. So fuck him.
A couple of people were shot there, politicians, and before that, we had Donald Trump in an attempted assassination, and we had Steve Scalise. And
that was a long time ago.
Had
it's not recent.
The Kennedy assassinations and Martin Luther King Jr. and all the other times that this has happened in our history. And I guess all I want to say is, man, we need to all just take a deep breath. I've been blocking a lot of people on social media this afternoon. A lot of people on the left who are
You're better off not following social media, period.
Celebrating the murder of a guy in his early 30s.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Had a wife and children.
Now that I got my own job now, I've been less focused on it too, so yay. That was a good distraction I have to worry about.
Yeah.
That was a good distraction I have to worry about the last week or so about Kirk when I could just focus on work instead.
Who, by all accounts, was somebody who invited dialogue and discussion. Even if he had strong, sometimes controversial opinions on topics, he was not somebody who ever advocated for violence or for shutting down.
But he did advocate stuff that would lead to violence, like towards LGBT people, calling them degenerates and all that.
I'd recommend, look up stochastic terrorism.
Yeah, like, he's a bad person. And discussion.
The speech of the other side. In fact, he encouraged dialogue, which is what we really need to be encouraging right now. And we don't need to be saying, well, yeah, we need to encourage dialogue, except for, and then name something you don't like that the other side says. No. People need to be able to express their political beliefs safely. And I want to applaud the number of very prominent people on the left who, even before it was announced that Charlie Kirk had died, who were speaking very strongly about this. I saw things from Gavin Newsom and
every
Pete
single
Buttigieg
Democrat
and
politician,
Kamala Harris,
which conservatives lie about.
Nancy Pelosi.
Because they've got an agenda to
Bernie
kill
Sanders
all Democrats.
And a lot of other people on the left, and that's what we need to be doing. And when this happened to someone on the left, it needed to be said, as it was by many people on the right.
But not Trump. Trump didn't say anything about the Minnesota politicians.
Right. And don't fool yourself. I saw some other things too. I saw a lot of people saying to me, well, the left is evil and this is how they act. No. Extremists can be evil, and there are extremists on both sides.
Or it can also be just terminally online people, which there are a lot.
They're mostly terminally online.
And also, too, bots, because those things exist now, too.
Yep.
Don't
And
kid yourself.
bots.
If this happened to a prominent young person on the left who was advocating for for progressive ideas, there would be sick, evil people on the right celebrating it.
Oh, no, it would be
happens
mostly
like that. And there's no place for that at all.
Because that's what they do.
You don't have to agree with Charlie Kirk or what he stood for to be horrified by this. And we all need to take a step back. And I'm greatly concerned that we are going down a very dark road as a country. I saw just now in the House of Representatives, there was a moment of silence that was very respectful. And then it was immediately followed by shouting and disrespect coming from people on both sides. And I'm really worried that, I hope that this is not the case, but I'm worried we have reached some kind of that this is one of those moments that we're going to look back on someday and say, oh my gosh, that was the beginning of it getting worse. And I fear that this is going to radicalize more people, and then it's going to radicalize people on the right who are going to say, you know what, they're killing our people, we need to get revenge.
Buddy, I didn't kill anyone, so I don't want to hear from you,
quickly they
dipshit
catch
conservatives.
this person, and we can have a fair but public.
And remind you, you know who also uses the Second Amendment? The left. So I would think twice before you try anything to us, pal. Or we'll use the Second Amendment to defend our First Amendment, like you always claim to do. So back off.
Trial of this person, and we can see that people like this are brought to justice for this stuff. Unfortunately, I saw the video of Charlie Kirk, and I knew even before they said he was dead, while I prayed that he would survive, it did not look like the kind of thing you survive. And sadly, that was the case. And honestly, all I could think of was the Kennedy assassination, because other than John F. Kennedy, I don't know that I've ever seen something like that. And I wish I hadn't seen it. I wish I didn't have to see it. I wish his kids didn't have to see that.
Oh, yeah. His family was there, too, which sucks for them as well.
I wish his kids didn't have to grow up without a dad, that his wife didn't have to grow up with.
The only good thing, I guess, is his kids are really young, so they probably won't remember it, hopefully, and such. You can only hope.
Without a husband.
Yeah.
And you know what? I feel the same way about the kids in school shootings and the people who die in violence every day in this country.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of shooting, there was a shooting in Colorado the same time that Charlie Kirk's assassination happened, but no one, of course, talked about it.
Country and the people who are killed by drunk drivers, and the people who were murdered in Minnesota, the politicians. And we live in a broken, dark, fallen world. And putting on my Christian hat for a minute, that's the world that has always been. And for me personally, I'm glad that I know that Charlie Kirk was a Christian. I believe with every fiber of my being that he's in the presence of the Lord right now.
I mean, personally, to us, even though we don't believe in heaven and hell, I would probably see him in hell instead, because I think he's a piece of shit.
A lot.
Like at absolute best for him, he's in purgatory.
Right, listen, people on the left, I don't always agree with you, but I'm glad you're a part of our country. I'm glad that your ideas are a part of our country. I'm glad that your candidates and your politicians are a part of our country. MAGA people, who I also don't agree with, I'm glad that you have strong ideals and that you're fighting for those. All of us, let's do this in a civil way. Let's dial back the rhetoric. President Trump, let's dial back the rhetoric, please.
Yeah, because Trump, this is also your fault too, because you're such a violent rhetoric piece of shit. Like, ever since Kirk got assassinated, he's blamed the left, and all that, when, sorry pal, I have nothing to do with it, and most of the left has nothing to do with it, so get the fuck over it.
People on the left, let's dial it back, okay? Let's disagree passionately, but let's stop with the accusations and the hateful comments. And
no. I'm not going to stop calling you a fascist if you believe in fascist things. Don't want to be called a fascist? Don't do fascist things. Don't want to be called misogynist? Don't say or do misogynistic things. Don't want to be called racist? Don't say or do racist shit. Don't want to be called homophobic or transphobic? Don't do homophobic or transphobic things. It's very, very simple.
And if you don't want to be called a closet case,
stop being
don't
retarded.
fucking rant about gay people more. Talk about dicks and asses and that more than gay people think about gay sex and that.
And I don't want to hear it from you conservative dipshits, because you all call me Nazis and fascists and all that, and I just simply don't care. So maybe you should be like me. How about that one?
The stupid memes that basically make light of very serious topics, and it happens. Gavin Newsom does it, and Donald Trump does it, and lots of other people do it, and it needs to stop. We need to return to civility.
Unfortunately, that's not going to happen anytime soon. That's what people like now.
Respectful but strong disagreement.
Like I said before, I would like if people focus on policies only, but unfortunately, people don't do that, so I have to deal with what it is right now.
Argue in the ballot box, and we need to argue on the floor of Congress, and we need to protest and stand for what we believe in. And we need to say, you know what, I don't agree with you, but you're an American just like me. You love this country just like me.
I don't think conservatives really love America, though, unlike the left.
That's saying people on the other side, they hate America.
The guy in the video might, but
that's
pretty
it.
much
That's it.
Hate America. They want Saudi Arabia.
There's a time and place for that, and we just need to dial it.
If you want to believe in all your policies, go to the Middle East, Russia, or China. They will welcome you with open arms. But your policies and your beliefs are not welcomed in America. Sorry.
Back. Please, for the sake of Charlie Kirk, for the sake of the politicians, I'm sorry I don't remember their names in Minnesota, and the people who have died in every act of political violence in our history, let's dial it back, please. This is not a time for ratcheting up the violence. This is not a time for
I'm not the one getting violent. I'm not the one giving deference like
not
I get regularly.
All right, we nuts.
I'm not the one advocating or celebrating death or anything. That's only the right does.
Be safe out there, everybody.
Exactly.
Left, right, center.
Well, the generally online people
be safe,
do.
Be smart, be civil.
And bots.
Yep, and the AI bots.
So yeah, that was a really good video. What do you guys say about vlogging through history? First time hearing them.
He seems like a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, go watch his channel. He's awesome. And now the next one, let me go find him. Oh yeah, Kazumi. I've watched him, been subscribed to him since like 2016, 2017. He's like a centrist, progressive, like all combined together and all that and such. He did a very good video, and he showed that, of course, that the right does not believe in free speech, which they don't, and such. So, yeah, let's watch his
They never have and they never will.
So, yeah, let's watch this as he points out their stupidity.
Look, I've already talked about how wrong it was for Charlie Kirk to have been assassinated. Political violence should never be considered acceptable. At least, not unless it's a reaction to a politician having
violence is only acceptable in self-defense. That's it.
Their adversaries killed. Thankfully, we don't have a situation like that. Having said that, there are a number of people on the right, including politicians, who are blatantly arguing against the freedom of speech. They're arguing to cancel anyone who says bad things about Charlie Kirk.
Free speech, pal. Get over it. Sorry if you don't like hearing it. And no, criticizing Kirk is not the same as advocating or celebrating his death. So, cope.
Even though all these years, these same people complained about cancel culture from the left, claiming that...
And now you guys are doing it too.
The left doesn't care about freedom of speech, which is true. The left doesn't really care about it. Pete Hegseth has been going on a rampage, directing the Pentagon...
I mean, I said he is a...
Very left dude, but authoritarian left, not so much. It's usually authoritarians of all stripes that hate freedom of speech.
Like I said, he's like a progressive centrist all mashed up together.
To look at any service members who say bad things about Charlie Kirk online so they can be discharged. This includes people simply stating true things about Charlie Kirk, like the fact that he held and promoted misogynistic views, racist views, homophobic views, argued against people being empathetic.
Yeah, oh, that's right. He doesn't... So yeah, I remember that empathy thing. But yeah, guys, you need to realize what Kirk...
So all people should be pieces of shit, so fuck you.
Like, you need to realize, people, what Kirk said was just wrong, and it's not debatable. What he said about, like, his obsession with Taylor Swift, black pilots, and whatever. He was just wrong. He's a bad person for believing what he did. That doesn't mean he should be killed, of course, but he's still wrong, and it needs to be condemned, what he said. And I will never, under any circumstances, shut up about criticizing him. I don't care if he died recently. I don't care. I'm going to criticize him forever and ever.
And push for Christian nationalism. And yes, I looked more into Charlie's positions, thanks to using custom date ranges on Google. And those descriptions I just gave of his views are accurate. He thought women should be submissive to men, which is a misogynistic opinion.
Not debatable.
Regardless of if he thought they should be protected. He thought that 10-year-olds who get raped should still have to carry their baby out to term.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, that is an evil, horrible belief. Absolutely terrible. No, 10-year-old girl that gets raped, she gets an abortion. End of discussion.
He was against the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
She's probably going to die.
He believed in God's perfect law when it comes to sexual matters, which included punishment in Old Testament passages about homosexuals. And
sodomy, too.
And said the following when it comes to trans people.
Which would mean he'd probably be against interracial marriage.
And oral and anal sex. Uh-oh.
Yep.
Someone should have just took care of it the way we used to take care of things in the 1950s and 60s. He also said that empathy is a new age belief that causes damage in society. No, he held a lot of ugly beliefs. This doesn't...
And we're going to get to another topic that he did a debate on very soon that really makes me raging mad.
Doesn't mean he was a bad person, but his beliefs were terrible. A bad person. And he didn't keep those beliefs to himself.
Very bad person.
If you believe these things, you are a bad person. Now, it doesn't mean, once again, that doesn't mean you should be killed for it, but you are a bad person if you believe the things that Kirk does. I'm sorry.
He promoted them constantly in debates. Sure, he promoted them in a nice way. He didn't call people names. He tried to have reasonable discussions. But his beliefs were still terrible. If his beliefs were actually moderate right-wing viewpoints, like a lot of defenders of Charlie's beliefs like to claim, then this country is in quite a bad situation. It's rather scary to think that many people hold those kinds of oppressive beliefs. But as I've said in other videos, we're supposed to have a separation of church and state. And for those of you who hear that phrase and cringe because you're Christian nationalists who believe in revisionist history, let me remind you, the First Amendment says the following: Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. That means that the government is not supposed to respect or promote religion. It's not just about the government staying out of churches. It's also about the government not promoting religion. Thomas Jefferson described it as a wall of separation. As I said in another video, under God was added to the pledge in 1954. And In God We Trust was added to our money in 1955.
They didn't like those dirty
Soviets. It's no wonder why so many Christian nationalists love the 1950s. And
speaking of the Soviets, oh my God, this is going to be part of like the debate we're going to be watching at Kirk. He debated someone recently, I saw this video and it really got me mad, about Finland joining NATO, and he actually had the gall to say that Finland is mostly Russians. Oh, fuck God.
How did the fucking Russians get into Finland in World War II again? Just about 50 kilometers or something, and that was about it.
May I remind you that they took like 270,000 casualties to like Finland's like 40,000? Based Finland. Also, no, Kirk, Finland is not Russian, you fucking retard. I would dare you to say that if you're alive in Finland and, they will go see Moheha on you. Just like your assassin did. Don't ever say something stupid like that.
Anyway, calling out Charlie Kirk's awful beliefs shouldn't be considered the same as excusing his assassination. But according to some of these right-wingers, we're supposed to basically praise Charlie Kirk or shut up about him entirely.
Never!
To die-hard Trump supporters who cry and whine anytime someone criticizes Trump.
Boo-hoo! Trump sucks ass. Deal with it.
But in this case, they want people to lose their livelihoods if they criticize Charlie Kirk. They want people to be completely canceled over it.
Try and cancel me. How about that, pal?
Most people on the right, or I should say most of these people on the right, don't really believe in freedom of speech, even though they claim to on a regular basis. Or at least, they used to. I remember when people on the Daily Wire used to make that claim. Yet I found out firsthand that if I make a response video to people like Michael Knowles, and I'm too mean about it, they'll put a strike against my channel. At least the left doesn't pretend to care about freedom of speech. I wish they did care about it, but neither side actually cares about it. One side just virtue signals about it constantly. So if you're someone who thinks that anyone that criticizes Charlie Kirk should pay the price, you don't believe in freedom of speech. Just saying.
So yeah, what do you have to say about that video as well? And seeing Kazumi. Been following since 2017.
Very interesting.
So...
Very interesting.
So yeah, guys. Just because Charlie Kirk's a piece of shit doesn't mean he should be killed and all that. But that also doesn't mean we're not going to criticize him. I'm going to always...
Exactly.
We're going to always criticize him, and you're going to sit there and fucking deal with it. Do you understand? Yep. So now...
And don't forget that it was someone on your side, even further to the right than Kirk, a fan of Nick Fuentes, who murdered Kirk.
Although I've seen some evidence that say, oh, he's a leftist and all that. I don't know what to believe. I don't really care either way. It doesn't change the fact...
The thing is that they've got is that Groyper's ideology makes no fucking sense. Like, there's a lot of Nazi shit in there, but then there's also bits that aren't in the Nazis are like grab bagged all over the from all over the place.
And remember, people,
and you know that it'll be only restricted to white men, whatever lefty stuff they want.
And remember, people, Fuentes group, they hate Charlie Kirk so much, so I wouldn't be surprised if one of them killed him. But I don't know. Yep. I don't really care. I'd rather wait for the evidence, and it doesn't change the fact that whoever killed him was wrong. However, that does not mean he's a good person. He sucks. And to show you how bad he sucks, we're going to watch one of his last debates he did a few months ago. And this one really gets me mad, because he was not only wrong on everything, it was rage-inducing. And of course, it's about something he hates very much, the Russo-Ukrainian war, because he's pro-Russian.
Yep, because he's a Russian and Israeli stooge.
I wonder if he's a paid Russian asset. Along with being a paid Gulf state asset. So, yeah, let's watch this debate and watch how bad it is. And of course, unfortunately, in order to get the best video of this, we have to go watch Charlie Kirk's actual YouTube channel, unfortunately. But in order to get the best video of it, we have to go here. So here it is. As he's going to debate a professor in the UK, and he is not going to be too happy about this because he's going to actually debate someone who's smart.
Bad move.
Yep. He's going to debate someone who actually knows what they're talking about. Expect me to get boiling mad watching this, people.
There you go.
Marvelous. Thank you. A very, very short question.
And I can't hear anything.
Israel versus Hamas.
There we go.
Guy versus bad guy.
Well, no surprise he would believe that he believes all Palestinians are Hamas.
Who's the good guy and who's the bad guy?
Both are bad, one is worse.
Which way round?
Russia is worse than Ukraine.
Okay. So
Ukraine's not a bad country, though, pal.
That?
No. Not as bad as the Russian Nazi terrorist organization and their Islamic Nazis in Chechnya.
The whole of the current US proposition that Ukraine is being the bad guy.
In what way? We funded Ukraine upwards to $200 billion.
No, we didn't give Ukraine that much money. And we didn't give them money either. We gave them that equivalent amount of weapons, you fucking moron. We gave them like $100-something billion in weapons. And you know what? That will want them to keep going up higher and higher and higher. Anything to crush the Russian Nazi state to get back Ukraine all their territory.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
But
We just signed a mineral deal with Ukraine, not Russia.
Yeah, the mineral deal is straight up imperialism, pal. Sorry.
yeah, but you are expecting
Russian imperialism, exactly.
American imperialism this time around.
percent of its
Yep.
territory, someone who invaded it.
Well, is Crimea part of Russia or Ukraine?
It's Ukraine, dipshit.
Ukraine.
Yeah.
That's where we don't agree.
Well, you're a fucking moron then. How about that, Kirk? It's not debatable. Crimea is part of Ukraine.
Well, I'm afraid that's part of international
Exactly.
treaty. That's not up for grabs.
Well,
That's-
it's interesting. I mean,
that's
hold on.
Thank you for clapping against him, people.
Even Zelensky has said he's willing to give up Ukraine.
no,
Ukraine? You mean Crimea? I mean, that's possible in negotiations, but that doesn't change the fact that, no, it's still not Russian. It's Ukrainian.
Who's
America
Exactly.
signed the agreement that gave Ukraine Crimea
Right.
when
and
the
Putin
Soviet
annexed.
Union ended.
Right. It was done.
Pretty
First of all,
much.
it never should have been done. It was largely ceremonial.
Kirk said that the Soviet Union should not have given Crimea to Ukraine. Well, guess what, Kirk? It happened. Get over it.
Yeah.
70 years ago. It's final.
Get over yourself.
Kirk, you do
Get
realize...
over it and get over yourself. That happened, 30 years ago.
50.
It stays
No.
Ukrainian now.
1954 is when it happened. Kirk, you sound...
Okay.
Kirk, you sound like this Russian nationalists that demand that we need to give Alaska back to them. Sorry, pal. You sold to us 140 years ago almost. It's ours. Deal with it.
But however, it was
Yeah.
annexed under
It was
Obama.
done.
Yes, and it was a mistake, and it should be given back to Russia.
No! No, it should not be given
No,
back
it's
to
gonna
Russia.
give it back to Ukraine.
How about that, you fucking moron? See, guys, he's defending Russian imperialism. I don't respect this.
Yep.
You're a moron if you support what he's saying.
It's a sign of good
And the
Jap-
only reason he would oppose Chinese imperialism is because he's racist.
gesture to end this conflict. Who's currently controlling Crimea? Where was the Russian Navy headquartered in World War II?
I don't care where the Russian Navy was put in World War II. It was a piece of shit Navy anyway that got probably destroyed by the Nazis. Just like Ukraine's destroying the
Yeah.
Black Sea Fleet. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's Ukraine now. Get over it.
Where was the end of World War II, son? This is very
not
important.
doubting that. I'm not doubting that. I'm just saying that if we're being logical on what has happened, that you are now arguing against that flow. And I don't understand it. Because actually, why is Ukraine the bad guy?
No, I said they're bad. They're not the bad guy.
Yeah, well, you said they were both bad, but one was more bad.
Correct,
than the other.
yes.
So why is Ukraine bad?
There's a lot wrong with Ukraine. First of all, they're not a democracy.
Yes, they are.
Zelensky refuses to hold an
They
election.
are.
Kirk, they can't have an election. They have martial law right now. And under national emergency, they can't have elections. What part of that do you not understand, you fucking retard?
Well, no, he can't hold an election.
Oh wait, did
because-
Churchill hold an election during the war?
Because under
No, Kirk, Churchill did not hold an election during World War II. It happened right after the end of World War II in Europe. They didn't
Thrown out. And when the election happened, he got thrown out.
and he didn't call it. It happened. Same thing basically with Ukraine. They couldn't have an election while they were being bombed by the Germans. What part do you not understand, you fucking moron?
his constitution.
Hold on, Lincoln held election during the war. He can. That's,
Oh my god. Kirk, the 1864 election is not the same time span as now. The 1860s, the Confederates did not have drones, missiles, planes, or whatever where they could attack voters from afar away. The front line was pretty much the entire part of the Civil War. You can't compare a war from the 1860s to 2020's war, where Russia could easily just bomb, drone, anywhere in Ukraine where they have an election and kill innocent people. But you're fucking idiot you are. Stop making stupid comparisons. They can't have elections right now until the national emergency is over. And it's not going to end until the war is over. And the Zelensky government has already said before, when the war ends, they plan on having an election within 6 months. So, cope.
not true. He can call an election. He can call a snap.
Well, yeah,
He's
pretty
for
much.
the country.
No.
Because he knows that the people of Ukraine would kick him out immediately because he's deeply unpopular.
No! He was deeply unpopular before the war. He was in the 20s before the war. Now he's a hero in Ukraine. Even ever since the war started, at his lowest point, Zelensky was like barely under 50%, which is still pretty good for a politician. But since Trump and stupid fat fuck couch rapist Vance shat on Vance back in February, now Ukrainians love him in the 60s to 70%. So, if they did have an election, he would win. It ain't debatable.
In fact, if he wanted to show a statement to the world, he would call an election and win by 80% and say, see, I'm super popular. So that's number one. I have a problem with that.
That's not how it works. You Russia-loving piece of shit.
Russian asset.
Yep, Russian asset.
$200 billion to that refuses even to face his voters.
Okay, I can't agree with you factually on that at all.
Okay.
I mean, constitutionally, Ukraine is not able to hold an election because it's under military law at the moment, and that's just a matter of fact.
Again, he can, as a
perfect,
he can do whatever he wants.
He can't.
He's not a dictator, Kirk. He can't do whatever he wants, you fucking moron.
Okay. He can't sign an executive order and change their constitution. Okay. Neither can the American president either, so hopefully there's a better...
He could even do a ceremonial election to see where...
A ceremonial election, Kirk. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? A ceremonial election. What is this crap? Guys, listen to how fucking stupid he is.
He's fucking projecting because this is what he wants Trump to do.
Like, guys, you need to see how fucking retarded he is on something that's a very important issue.
He actually stands with the people.
All those opinion polls.
Yes, and they're very negative.
No, he's not. Zelensky's popular in Ukraine.
Again, but you would agree that a person that holds on to power without the election of the sovereign is pretty questionable.
No, the election will happen when the war's over.
No, not in those circumstances.
Okay, then we disagree.
No,
yeah, because you're a fucking moron.
That's fine. That's fine. But give me another reason why you...
They are the most corrupt country in Europe that never even met the...
No, Ukraine's not the most corrupt country. That's the Russian Nazi state.
Most remote standards of joining NATO.
And even outside of that, that's like Moldova and Belarus.
I disagree that there is a problem with corruption, but the most corrupt country in Europe, are you sure about that?
I'd have to think, I'd have to double or triple think about that, but they're very corrupt.
They are corrupt, but not the most corrupt in Europe.
It's not absolute.
Well, I mean, well,
would you... There's corruption around. I mean, you know, let's face it, we are talking about comparison with some of the states you're doing business with in the Gulf.
Went after Kirk for being funded by the Gulf states. Oh, savage! And Kirk's face
funded by the Gulf states, funded by Israel, funded by Russia, funded by the Neo-Ottoman Empire.
Oh, he looks so
Is there any kind of funded by other billionaires? Is there anyone you're not going to be funded by? Oh, that's right, black people.
And he's funded by red fascist China too.
Chinese people.
Oh my god, his face was so stupid.
Oh, of course, but we're not giving them money, they're giving us money. That's a
Kirk, we are giving the Gulf state money. Don't start with your bullshit.
Difference, right? Saudi Arabia is...
Oh, so it's fine.
Well, hold on a second.
It's morally acceptable to take money from corrupt people.
Well, hold on. First of all, as far as morally acceptable, you do what's best in the benefit of your country. And so...
Yeah, and it's America's best interest and the world's best interest that the Russian Nazi state is eliminated, and then fascist China is too scared to do anything to Taiwan. How about that one?
For example, we were allied with Russia during the Second World War, and I'm glad we were. And I would ask you...
Are you really happy, Kirk? Supporting a communist government? You know how evil Stalin was. Are you sure you're happy about that one?
Don't forget.
How much money is too much money to send to Ukraine?
There is no limit. You give everything. And it's not giving them money, it's giving them weapons.
$200 billion right now.
I don't think you have to send any more money to Ukraine.
We agree.
I think you have to agree to support them as a free country. And
Hold on,
sell them
Sophie's
weapons.
barking
I'm
at
very happy to
something.
sell weapons to less free countries. And I think Europe will pick up the slack, as we ought to. And I don't disagree with some of the comments about Europe not looking after its own security. I just don't get this approach, which was supposedly to end the war quickly, which now seems to be elongating it. And in doing so, throwing up a smokescreen of very variable facts, if they are facts at all, about how things occurred, which actually isn't...
Sorry about that.
Things. And if people can't see that Putin is stalling, I'm just...
I agree with you. I think he might be stalling.
Yeah, Kirk, Putler is stalling because he doesn't want peace. That's why we should end this peace peace bullshit with him and give Ukraine everything they need to crush the Russian Nazi state. How about that one?
And therefore, and I think even your president has acknowledged the fact that he thinks he might be stalling.
That's correct. So we don't have a disagreement there.
No, we don't. No,
we just have a disagreement about the efficacy of tactics, and we don't know. And I'm willing to say we could be wrong.
No. Oh well.
Of course, you could be wrong in life.
Yeah. I mean, we could all be wrong, but actually bringing that war to an end consistently actually isn't going very well. And I would just suggest to you that whatever tactics have been used are perhaps not the best, and they are certainly inconsistent with what's going on in the Middle East and how America has been treating parties in the Middle East. But I've had enough of your time.
Fair. No, that's a fair contention. Thank you very much.
So yeah, that ends the debate. So yeah, guys.
That's basically Kirk admitting defeat.
Yeah, because he's a fucking idiot. So yeah, guys. This is the stupidity of Charlie Kirk. Fucking idiot that I don't care what he says. Him arguing the pro-Russian positions effectively means he wants the genocide of the Ukrainians. It's not debatable. Yeah. You fully support...
he wants the resurrection of the Soviet Union with the politics of the Russian Empire.
Yeah, you support Ukraine. End of discussion. So, yeah, fuck Charlie Kirk and all that. Doesn't mean he should be killed, but still fuck him. Alright, that pissed me off immensely watching that debate. So, what do we get to now?
The next step will be... Brian Kilmede advocates killing homeless people, and causes mass shootings.
Yeah. So for all of you who don't know, of course, to prove how violent the right is and how they defend it, Brian Kilmede, piece of stupid fuck on Fox and Friends, advocated killing homeless people and such. Yeah.
And there's already been several mass shootings of homeless encampments because of it.
He caused it. And, of course, he's not going to get fired for it because, of course, conservatives never get fired when they do something wrong. So, yeah, absolutely disgusting and all that. And, of course, conservatives finally defended on Reddit and all that. Gee, why am I not surprised that conservatives would defend their side doing bad things? So, yeah, let's watch this stupid video.
So, one of the things that's been freaking me out quite a bit is let's call it the fascistification, man, that's a mouthful, of U.S. society. We are... seemingly on a daily basis, going further and further and further into the abyss, and it feels like there's no getting out of that abyss. That's how bad it is. So, on Fox News, Brian Kilmede said something which is absolutely disgusting, even by Fox News standards. I mean, this is like way, way worse than your average Fox News bullshit. Listen for yourself, then I'll give you some updates on it. Here we go.
They have given billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
They're talking about homeless people, he says, or give them involuntary lethal injections.
Just kill homeless people.
So first of all, he says that so casually and so nonchalantly, like it's absolutely nothing. Like fucking swatting a fly off his arm or some shit. And then take note, he says that, and look at the reactions of the other two dipshits on the couch. Watch.
I give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
So one of the guys goes, yeah. And then she moves on to, well, Brian, some other point. He calls for mass extermination, genocide of homeless people, involuntary lethal injection, just kill them. He says, quote, just kill them. And that's the reaction. Nobody bats an eyelash. Nobody shudders.
Yeah, here's the violence on the right. And, of course, we're going to condemn it, but is the right going to condemn it? Oh, wait, that's right. No, because you guys support it. Because you guys have a violent hatred of homeless people.
Nobody goes, whoa, what the fuck? What? Nothing.
Yeah, you guys don't give a shit.
Naive,
shows how much full of shit you were.
But my sense is, if it was 13 years ago and somebody said this, Brian Kilmede would be fired. He would be fired. There wouldn't even be any ifs, ands, or buts about it.
And remember, that wouldn't be free speech. That's consequences. Deal with it.
Like, there are very few rules. In this country, you can say, you're supposed to be able to say almost anything, short of direct threats of violence. This is as direct threat of violence as it gets.
Like, and no homeless people
and of course it triggered several, and of course it led to several mass shootings of homeless encampments.
And no, homeless people shouldn't be executed and all that. Like, what the fuck, people? Maybe, you might maybe have a point about involuntary, like, getting them, like, into rehab for, like, drug use and all that, or some sort of help to get them off the streets and all that. Maybe you have a point on that, but killing them? Absolutely not.
Like, mass exterminate all homeless people? Just casually calling for that? By the way, at the same time, Brian Kilmede is not losing his job over this. You have people getting fired because they directly quoted Charlie Kirk after his death. Showed people what Charlie really thought on various...
Or said he was a piece of shit like I do.
...issues after his death. So you're not allowed to disagree with the slain Republican pundit, because that'll get you to lose your job as a teacher or a plumber. But a guy on national TV can call for genocide against all homeless people, no problem whatsoever. So he actually, he came out and apologized, or somewhat apologized. Let's listen to what he had to say. Here we go.
And it actually happened when we were together on Wednesday, Lawrence. In the morning, we were discussing the murder of Irina Zaruska in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now,
oh, and by the way, what he's talking about, we're going to be covering later on the killing that happened recently.
Stop these kinds of attacks. Yep. By homeless, mentally ill assailants, including institutionalizing or jailing such people so they cannot attack again. Now, during that discussion, I wrongly said they should get lethal injections. I apologize for that extremely callous remark. I'm obviously aware.
And of course, that's going to be his excuse to avoid getting fired.
Of course, he does. He's actually sorry. It's just that he has to say it, or else he gets kicked out and gets his head slammed into the pavement.
Carolina, and that so many homeless people deserve empathy and compassion.
You said it with your whole chest and you meant it. And now you're just saying, no, I mean, never mind. That's what he's saying.
Thanks, Brian. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.
Right, more Fox in the weekend.
Way to hold him accountable. Thanks, Brian. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, my God. All right, just so we're clear, y'all, there's nearly 800,000 homeless people in this country. That's the official number. There's over 30,000 homeless veterans in this country. Over 30,000.
Support the troops. Support the veterans. Oh, wait, we don't. Oh.
I think the thing that I struggle to wrap my mind around is that in conservative circles, they genuinely don't view these people as human. In the same way they don't view Palestinians as human. In the same way that they don't
conservatives deep down have a
anybody
violent
who's the target of U.S. imperialism and drone strikes and whatever. They don't view them.
Homeless people are in a bad place. They need to get help and all that. You don't finally want to murder them like for some reason conservatives want to do.
As human. And so that is how you get in the mental state and the mental framework to allow yourself to say such words on air and think nothing of it. Is that these are fully dehumanized people. When they see a homeless person, all they see is this zombie stumbling through life, right? Basically like no human emotions, has no life, no history, no hopes, no dreams, no family members. They don't see a story of, hey, this guy was a husband and his wife died of cancer very young and he had a mental health episode and he couldn't pay the mortgage and now he's out on the streets. They don't see that story. They don't see the story of, hey, this person's homeless simply because they didn't have enough money, they couldn't pay the bills, so they were living in their car. Then their car got repoed, and now they're out on the street even more than that. They don't see human beings with complex, detailed, nuanced stories that explain exactly how they got where they are, because we live in a country which criminalizes poverty. Criminalizes poverty. Which is crazy, because we also have a country where if you work full-time and you get paid the minimum wage, you still don't make enough money to survive. We have tens of millions in this country that are working poor. I know, it should be an oxymoron. That shouldn't exist, but we have working poor people in this country. He doesn't see them as...
If you work, you should be fine, no matter what.
Fellow human beings. He doesn't see them as fellow Americans. He doesn't look at a homeless person and say, with a slightly different roll of the dice, that could be me. He doesn't see that. He sees a piece...
I'll let you all know back in the middle of 2008, before even the Great Recession happened, that almost happened to my family. So I want you to keep that in mind, people.
It's a shit. He looks at
I
poverty
could have been homeless almost.
like it's a
That's how
moral
close it
failing.
was.
He looks at poverty like you didn't work hard enough. You didn't pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
I want you to really think about
you
that.
You didn't go full hardcore individualist and, pave your own way successfully. You're not entrepreneurial enough. You don't have that try-hard spirit enough. That's what he sees. Even though that's total fucking bullshit. That's total bullshit. A lot of it is, are you part of the Lucky Sperm Club? And then guess what? You're going to have an easy life and you're going to cruise. Right? Yeah. And if you're not part of the Lucky Sperm Club, one fucking medical bankruptcy and you're cooked. It's over.
Yeah.
He doesn't see him like that.
And in comes America, you'll be hunted down and murdered.
Didn't get fired for calling for mass involuntary lethal injection. Also known as a Holocaust. Also known as a genocide. Also known as a mass extermination campaign. He literally said, quote, kill them all about homeless people. This country's cooked, man. At some point, we lost the basic values of what it meant, not just to be an American, but to be a human, right? Just this idea that you should value truth.
People like Charlie Kirk.
You should believe in empathy and sympathy and trying to lift everybody up and create a society that is egalitarian and fair and gives people a decent shot at living a good life. At some point, those values became viewed as pussy values, weak values.
No, they're based values.
And people like Brian Kilmede support a vicious, hierarchical, dog-eat-dog world. He supports a fascist framework. He thinks that's what makes sense and that's what we should live in. And so when he calls casually for the murder of 32,000 U.S. veterans who are struggling with PTSD, who are out on the streets, he thinks nothing of it. You're weak. You're weak, so we got to cull the herd a little bit, and you're first to go. Don't care that you serve this country. Don't care. Don't care. 800,000 homeless people. Don't care. It's your own fault. Blame yourself. Don't look at the billionaires who stole over $50 trillion from the bottom 90%. Don't look at the multinational corporations who've rigged our system, our democracy, since at least the 1970s and onward, and made it so that they get more subsidies, they get more tax cuts, and we destroy the social safety net and cut it on a daily basis. Take away your health care. Take away your welfare. Don't look at that. Blame yourself. Look in the mirror. Blame yourself. Even though the system's rigged, even though it's biased in favor of billionaires, even though it's biased in favor of corporations, it's on you if you're in the streets. It's on you. So, there you have it. Casually calling for a genocide on Fox News, and no problem whatsoever. Give a half-assed apology. Move right on. Move right on. Meanwhile, God forbid you quote Charlie Kirk after he dies and just put his own words with no commentary of your own.
Charlie Kirk sucks ass.
You can get put on a fucking doxing list.
Try and fire me, conservatives.
Some people,
there's
a woman who got arrested in Texas for mocking Charlie Kirk after Charlie Kirk died, and Greg Abbott bragged about arresting this person.
Charlie
for
Kirk
free speech.
Sucks.
But no,
exactly.
If you're doing it in service
doesn't mean he should be killed, but he still sucks.
Conservative ideals, well then it's totally fine. You could say, hey, you said kill homeless people. Throw in another minority group there tomorrow. See how that goes. Maybe you'll get away with that one too. In between bouts of defending the mass killing of Palestinians, you can argue for the mass killing of homeless people, and then maybe throw in there, argue the mass killing of some minority group you don't like. Huh? That's what's next. Nobody bats an eyelash. Nobody cares. We move on like we're not rapidly becoming a brazenly fascist country. In fact, we're not becoming it. We're already there. Hey, y'all, do me a favor.
So, yeah, what do you guys say about Brian Kilmede being a disgusting piece of shit, as always? And, of course, gonna get away with it because conservatives always get away with stupid shit they do. Every single time. Every single time. Alright, so now, what's next?
Alright, third topic next will be how not to write a female villain.
Ah, finally, something nice and relaxing to watch. So, this, of course, as you all know, we write fan fictions, and also me, manga and such. Basically, we like creating stories and such, to put it as simply as possible. So, the last week or so, instead of focusing on Charlie Kirk, I ran into a bunch of channels that cover, a lot of them are covering like Disney and Pixar movies, about how to make this type of villain and all, and explain how well they're well written and such. Well, this YouTube channel called Toon actually did a video recently on how not to write a female villain. And as offers like us, I figure it'd be a good video for us to watch. And such. What do you all think, people? So, let's get to it.
When a man...
Also, I might add, this actually got me thinking of a new series in the future, too. That's how really good it is.
When a man...
No, there's I'll say it now. There's one where the villain is like brought down from their villainy. Well, at least the female one is, because they actually got laid.
I don't know if it's in this one, though, but that is funny. That kid Kyber needs to get laid.
When a woman wants power, we call him ambitious.
You really do need to get laid.
She's unstable, jealous, or just needs to be redeemed. Thanos wipes out half the universe, and we call him complex. Joker burns a city, and he's a misunderstood genius. But when a woman dares to be a villain, she has to be beautiful, broken, or dead within minutes. Welcome to animation's double standard. Now, the truth is that female villains don't fail because they're bad characters, they fail because they were deliberately written to leave a sour note on our tongues. And the worst part is, it could all be easily avoided. The most dangerous...
Hey, remember how, the classic trope is that majority of, artists and stuff are left-wing and liberal and all that, and that makes conservatives mad? That's because not only us on the left are creative, unlike you conservatives, we're willing to do stuff that you won't do, we're also introspective. We think about stuff and why we do that in stories and such. And this is a very good introspection and such. That got me thinking about a lot of things, which is why it made me follow a new series in the future.
Thing a female villain can do isn't murder, world domination, or even genocide. Because when a villainess steps into frame, an invisible timer activates, not counting down to her defeat, but to her inevitable neutering. You'll notice they all fit similar patterns, like not being allowed to stay evil or have a meaningful impact. And they weren't written like this by accident. There's actually 4 tropes that kill female villains before they're even shown on the screen for the first time. First, the career woman must be evil. The most dangerous thing a female villain can do isn't murder, world domination, or even genocide. It's being a woman with a LinkedIn profile. Enter Evelyn Dever, Pixar's answer to what if a woman was too successful? She's smart, driven, and the head of a tech empire. Sounds like the setup for a powerful, ideologically driven antagonist,
but the
right?
Is
not quite, because the moment she steps on screen, she's less a villain and more a warning label. Ambitious, evil. Single, definitely evil. No kids? Get the pitchforks. She's not just a character, she's Hollywood's neon flashing, beware the career woman sign. Now, compare her with Elastigirl, a loving mother, balancing domesticity with superheroics. She's celebrated, centered, and given real emotional depth. Evelyn, she's written like the antithesis of maternal warmth, cold, calculating, and obsessed with logic. Her motivation is simple. People rely too much on superheroes. A potentially fascinating idea, especially in a world where accountability is rarely discussed. But instead of exploring it, the film flattens her into a mouthpiece with an evil TED Talk and a hypnosis gimmick. Even her reveal as the villain lacks weight. There's no sense of personal stakes, no true threat, and no emotional through line that ties her to the protagonist. She exists to fill the smart woman gone bad checkbox and vanish when Elastigirl gets her groove back. Meanwhile, in the first movie, Syndrome, another tech genius with a personal grudge, gets a full backstory,
God,
a symbolic arc, and giant robots. He even gets something more that a female villain can't have.
Yeah, this channel did a really good deep dive in Syndrome and Mr. Incredible. It is amazing.
I'll explain later. On the other hand, Evelyn just gets a pair of evil glasses. This isn't just lazy writing, it's a pattern. Because when women in media choose ambition over family, they're rarely shown as complex. They're shown as broken. And if she's not nurturing, then she'd better be punished. Evelyn Dever never got the chance to be a true villain, because first, she had to prove she wasn't a bad woman. Second, too pretty to be bad. Now, The Incredibles may be a masterpiece of animation, but even then, Disney couldn't resist Hollywood's most cynical formula for a female antagonist. Make her gorgeous, make her mysterious, make her meaningless. Mirage exemplifies this problem perfectly. Elegant silver hair, a slinky silhouette, voice like velvet.
He's attracted to power. So am I. It's a weakness.
Every part of her design screams allure. The film codes her beauty as dangerous, the femme fatale in animated form. She doesn't throw punches, she doesn't need to. Her power lies in how she moves, how she speaks, how she looks. Even her name tells you everything. Mirage, a trick of the eye, meant to be admired, never understood. At first, she plays the part perfectly, calculated, seductive, and instrumental in luring superheroes to their deaths. She seems like Syndrome's equal, or at least his closest confidant. She flirts with Mr. Incredible. She flirts with danger. There's even a flicker of romantic tension with Syndrome, suggesting she might be in this not for money or morals, but love. But then the illusion breaks. One scene flips her entire character. Mr. Incredible grabs her, threatens her, and Syndrome, the man she's been loyally helping, dismisses her life like it means nothing.
It'll be easy, like breaking a toothpick.
Suddenly, the story decides she's had enough. She switches sides, helps the heroes. Her redemption is quiet, unearned, and mostly off-screen. But more than that, it's inevitable, because her beauty disqualifies her from true villainy. She's too graceful, too poised, too elegant to really be bad. And in Hollywood logic, if a woman looks like that, she must have a heart of gold under all that satin and smolder. It's a trope so ingrained we barely notice it. The beautiful woman isn't allowed to stay evil because beauty is equated with goodness. There's always exceptions to this, but more often than not, if she's elegant, she falls short. Just like Queen Nerissa in Enchanted, a villain with Susan Sarandon's voice, stunning wardrobe, and a fabulous presence, but then, the first time she actually gets to be evil, she morphs into a dragon, erasing her human identity, and dies in 20 seconds flat. Beautiful characters don't truly get to become a villainess. They're there just to be a pretty face to draw a crowd. Studios want the aesthetic of dangerous women without the actual danger. This is why almost all female villains end up the same. You thought looks were the only thing that matter? You'll soon learn that it's not just what you see. Even the things that they hide deep down are basically replicated, just like the downfall in the third trope. Male villains get to chase power, revenge, ideology, sometimes even justice, twisted beyond recognition. Female villains, 9 times out of 10, they're just insecure. Take Mother Gothel from Tangled. She kidnaps a child, locks her in a tower, gaslights her for nearly 2 decades, and emotionally manipulates her into fearing the outside world. This isn't just villainy, it's psychological warfare. And yet, what drives all of this? Not greed, not vengeance, just wrinkles? That's it. Her entire scheme, every ounce of cruelty, is to keep her skin from aging.
Yeah, why is it always like that? Why is it always gotta be about women trying to look better? Why can't they actually be genuinely evil and all that? So, I guess I'll get into that series I thought about somewhat. Although, like I said, I just thought of it when I saw this video the other day, so it's kind of a little bit like rough around the edges, not much detail into it yet. But basically the idea would be some like adventure war like series where in this fantasy world there's a country that's run by an empress who just took over, and no details yet, but haven't followed the details yet, but she's cruel, sadistic, violent and such, and she just wants power and takes over several countries or whatever, and kill, enslave, genocide everyone such, and she'll eventually be defeated by the protagonist at the end, and she won't be like, have mercy on me and such. No, she'll embrace being killed and such like that. Doesn't that sound interesting for so far?
That's potential. That's got some potential.
I know.
Yeah, as for me, I will admit that I don't have anything for the story leading up to the point. but solving the villainess by her getting laid is like the ending.
That is funny. But yeah, of course, like I said, just follow it like in a minute or so. Got a lot more stuff to do it. Although I'm going to do one thing a little bit different from what this guy's video is. I would make her like a beauty. Like have like huge tits like in anime and such like that. She'll look like a beauty, but it will like never be brought up or anything like that. It will be just like whatever. But yeah, just cruel, evil, and such. And I think it sounds amazing.
The movie plays it for drama and laughs, but think about what it's really saying. A woman's fear of losing her beauty makes her capable of monstrosity, not because she's evil, but because she's vain. Now, rewind to the evil queen in Snow White. She doesn't try to steal the throne. She doesn't even want Snow White dead for political reasons. She wants her dead because a mirror said someone else was prettier. She's a literal queen. She has magic, influence, power, and her plan is to poison a teenager over a bad Yelp review from a piece of talking glass.
Like, come on, people. Can't you think of something better, really?
It's caricature.
No, they can't.
Female villains.
Because women can't be evil, apparently. A dose of misogyny and misandry all in one.
Aren't allowed ambition unless it's rooted in appearance. They don't
Team Rocket. Control. Sabrina's a high-ranking member of Team Rocket. Lorelei and Agatha, members of the Elite Four, they're evil. Karen is a member of Neo, Team Rocket, and Johto. This is all taken from the manga. And we've got female villains, at least one female villain in nearly every generation.
Looking at you, Lucamine.
Yes, Lucamine.
They seek compliments.
Lucamine, who is basically the... Yeah, no, she's pretty much the Pokemon equivalent to Yubel.
Yeah. This is awesome.
Another woman. And it's not just lazy writing, it's damaging, because it reinforces the idea that women can't coexist without rivalry, that femininity is fragile, competitive, and shallow by default, that aging or being outshined is something to be feared so deeply it justifies cruelty. Meanwhile, male villains are praised for being tragic or nuanced, even when their motives are just as petty. Syndrome wants revenge because Mr. Incredible brushed him off as a kid.
Scar buddy.
Kills Mufasa because he's jealous of his brother's spotlight. But nobody calls them shallow. They're called iconic, and to be fair, the evil queen is also iconic. But if she'd be written today, I think she'd get a lot more critique. In the end, when a man envies, he's Shakespearean. When a woman envies, she's just a hater. These female villains weren't written to be terrifying, they were written to be insecure.
And
if you're looking
sorry
to stay away from falling into this trope,
you really
make
should.
Sure your villainess has more deeply
the hater one is just like someone who never lets go of hate. They hate someone.
Superficial stereotypes. But shallow motives are only half the problem, because even when a female villain starts out evil, the story rarely lets her stay that way. 4. Redemption at all costs. Take Teka, the towering lava monster from Moana. She scorches oceans, hurls fireballs, and threatens the end of life as we know it. But don't worry, she's not actually bad. She's just missing her heart. Cue the slow motion walk, the swelling music, the whispered,
"They have stolen the heart from inside you, but this does not define you."
A hug, a
Disney,
glow.
can you please... Wait. Actually, I was about to say Disney. I don't know if this is Pixar or DreamWorks. I probably should hold my tongue back. But either way, Disney, can you please go back to doing 2D animation? I'm tired of seeing like all the 3D computer CGI stuff. Please. Oh, and also stop doing the live action stuff too. And stop doing remakes.
Oh, and suddenly she's not a villain. She's an island with a skincare routine. This isn't a twist. It's a retreat.
Oh! I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I've wanted to always mention this on last when we made fun of Disney. Hey, Disney.
Yeah?
I have a very cool idea for a movie you can do. And such, are you ready to hear this?
Sure.
Okay, first off, 2D. animation and make an anime too. That's a good start. And it makes sense. Mm-hmm. You're going to do a princess movie, which, hey, you're good with princess stuff. But, are you ready for this? It'll take place in feudal Japan. Hey, give Mulan some competition for some East Asian princess representation. How about the princess in this feudal Japan setting is trying to I'm trying to figure a way to describe it. Basically, the antagonist of the series is her violent, abusive husband. How about that one? Hey, Japan historically was very misogynistic in that regard. That makes perfect sense.
Every negative it was every negative-ist in the book.
Yep. And get into a topic that I know you'll never touch with a 10-foot pole. She gets raped by him all the time, and other stuff like that. Doesn't that sound very interesting? Her trying to fight back the oppression of feudal Japanese society and overthrow him and become like an empress, and maybe unite Japan and all that. Doesn't that sound very interesting, people?
That sounds very interesting.
And if you do that, Disney, you're gonna have to give me some royalties for that. And that royalties, you're going to have to make My Blossom Summer to an anime. And guess what? That is a series I plan on writing in the future, too, one day. So if they won't do it, I'll do it happily. So that sounds interesting, though, people.
Don't worry, she was never really dangerous. Her rage wasn't a choice. It was trauma. And once healed, she returns to her true form, beautiful, benevolent, and no longer scary. It's a feel-good message we see attached to a lot of villains nowadays.
And may I remind you, I thought of that like in 10 seconds.
A woman's evil is never allowed to stand on its own. It has to be explained, justified, or...
Conservatives will always be jealous. They can't think of creative stuff like that, like we can.
Raised. She can be angry, but only if it comes from pain, and if that pain comes from superficial tropes like the jealousy one, it's often regarded as lazy writing. Unlike male villains who can embrace darkness without apology, female villains are put on a tight leash. They must be tragic or misunderstood, or punished swiftly if they dare to enjoy it. Rarely is she allowed
different gender stereotypes.
The dignity of her own darkness.
Yeah.
But the truth is, this isn't just lazy storytelling. It's cultural discomfort. Because letting women choose villainy freely would mean admitting something even scarier than a fire demon or a death ray. That women, like men, are fully capable of choosing cruelty.
And women can be just as evil as men, people. Like, let's stop doing this misogynistic BS that women are, like, pure and all that. No. There are women that are evil, and just like there are evil men. It's not that hard to understand.
Not because they were hurt.
Don't worry. While Sabrina does redeem herself, Lorelai and Agatha never do.
Because they were unloved, but because they wanted to. That kind of female villain isn't common, because the stories we tell still aren't ready for her. But if a woman refuses redemption and insists on villainy, the story finds a new box to shove her in. Not a tower, not a lair, a nursery. There's a secret weapon writers use against female villains, a strategy so effective it turns them into ghosts in their own stories. Make them moms. But not complex, multidimensional mothers. Twisted ones, conditional ones, the kind who weaponize care and call it love. Take Lady Tremaine, the wicked stepmother in Cinderella. No magic, no minions, just unshakable control over a domestic prison. She doesn't shout, she doesn't scheme, she doesn't have to. She rules through subtlety, a locked attic, a quiet snub, a delayed invitation, and somehow that makes her feel more dangerous than any fire-breathing dragon. But even then, her power is contained. She's not chasing thrones or changing laws. She just wants to keep one girl from rising above her station. That's the core of this trope. Female villainy isn't allowed to be expansive. It's allowed to be petty, personal, homebound. This kind of writing traps evil within the walls of a household, a place where women have historically been confined anyway. It's not just a metaphor, it's tradition repackaged as fiction. And yet, this trope can work when the story knows what it's doing. Villains like this can be terrifying if they're allowed depth, if their motivations stretch beyond envy or the need to control a child. when writers explore motherhood not just as a role, but as a system of power, a source of identity, loss, and obsession. You get something chilling and honest. You get a villain who feels real. Enter the Baroness from Cruella, a fashion icon, a narcissist, a mother in the most technical, loveless sense of the word. She abandons her child for convenience, manipulates her employees, and treats creation, both artistic and biological, as something she owns, not something she nurtures. And unlike most villains in this trope, she's allowed to enjoy it. She relishes her cruelty. She controls her world through intimidation, glamour, and legacy. And the story doesn't try to explain it away with a tragic past or a redemptive moment. She's not a monster in hiding, she's a monster in plain sight, and she likes it that way. What makes the Baroness work is that her villainy isn't confined to the home. She's not just a bad mother, she's a corporate tyrant, a social manipulator, and a cautionary tale about power unchecked by empathy. She's still within the twisted mother trope, but instead of shrinking her evil to fit it, the film expands the trope to fit her. That's the difference, because when the trope is used to reveal something about society, not just reinforce what we already expect from women, it becomes a storytelling tool. When it's just another box to trap them in, we're back to where we started. Not a tower, not a lair, a nursery. While female villains are boxed into homes and motherhood, male villains are given kingdoms, empires, entire galaxies to burn. Because when a man chooses evil, the story rolls out a red carpet. Same crime, different punishment. Welcome to villain gender bias.
I think this is where the part of the video where I got the idea of that empress, that genocidal empress I was talking about earlier.
Yes.
Welcome, 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 welcome.
Take Syndrome from The Incredibles. He's petty, entitled, and driven by a childhood grudge. A man-baby with a death ray, and yet we call him thematically rich. Because his villainy ties into the film's commentary on meritocracy and mediocrity. He's allowed to be a brat and still be brilliant, still be terrifying. Or look at Scar from The Lion King. Jealous, dramatic, dripping with sarcasm. He literally sings a song about committing murder while posing on cliffs and talking to green fire. But we don't call him shallow, we call him iconic. Dr. Facilier, Jafar, Hades, they all get to be charming, flamboyant, over the top, and unapologetically evil. They don't even need a redemption arc. They don't need to be hot. They don't need to be sad. They're allowed to be fun. But give those same qualities to a female villain, suddenly she's too much, too dramatic, too cold, too sexy, too loud. She's either flattened into a cliche or softened into a sob story. Hela in Thor Ragnarok was a goddess of death with presence, power, and a killer entrance. She literally destroyed Thor's hammer with one hand. But was she given depth? Stakes? Nope. She was shoved into the evil sister box and killed off with a giant fire monster so the hero could complete his arc. Bellatrix Lestrange in Harry Potter had so much potential.
Ooh, this is your neck of the woods. Maybe you know more details about it.
Yep.
So, care to talk about this character in Harry Potter?
Okay, so Bellatrix Lestrange. She, you want in that box like the lawful, neutral, and chaotic for good, the D&D alignment chart. She falls firmly into chaotic evil.
Oh boy, is she well written though?
What?
Is she well written?
About as well written as the entire Harry Potter franchise is, which has got a lot of good bits and a lot of bad bits.
What do we expect from J.Q. Rowling?
Yep. Thank you, Rowling, the trans man, the closet trans man.
Of feminine chaos devoted to Voldemort with religious fervor. But even with Helena Bonham Carter chewing the scenery, Bellatrix was never treated as her own force. She was a sidekick, a lapdog, even her death is offhanded, a quick gotcha moment in a battle scene dominated by men. And then there's She-Hulk, a show that teased a female villain in Titania, bold, confident, and entertainingly narcissistic, But instead of developing her, the writers turned her into a joke. No threat, no agenda, just a walking meme who crashes into scenes, sues people over trademark law, and disappears again. The pattern is clear. If a female villain is fun, she's not dangerous. If she's dangerous, she can't be fun. And if she's both, then the story doesn't know what to do with her. Even Jack Horner, whose entire shtick is that he has no depth, no trauma, and no morality, is treated as a bold storytelling choice, a satire of modern villains. Audiences love him, just like I do.
I'm Big Jack Horner.
Not in spite of his cartoonish evil, but because of it. Can you imagine a female villain being written like that, with no tragic backstory, no guilt, no humanity, and still being embraced? She'd be called unhinged. She'd be laughed off the screen. And by Act 3,
what are you
she'd
talking about? That
be
sounds
dead
amazing.
or
That's
redeemed
good
through
story writing
tears
right there,
and eyeliner.
people.
Male villains are allowed to enjoy their evil. They're allowed to own it, to monologue, manipulate, explode, betray, and win for a while. Female villains, they're allowed to feel bad about it.
Again, people, it's just misogyny. That's really what it boils down to.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Not just misogyny, chivalry, too.
It doesn't have to be this way. Not every female villain is doomed to be a sexy wallpaper, a jealous wreck, or someone's twisted mom. Some writers actually remember that evil has no gender. They give us villainesses who are powerful, terrifying, and, most importantly, allowed to be evil on their own terms. Ursula, the sea witch from The Little Mermaid, demolishes the standard female villain template. She's loud, grotesque, and gloriously wicked, unapologetically herself. Audiences embraced her as a queer or feminist icon precisely because she breaks the mold of dainty femininity. She's plus-sized, powerful, and confident. Beauty standards don't define her villainy. It's determined by raw ambition and ruthless execution. Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender is another rarity. She's a teenager, yes, but also a military prodigy, a master manipulator, and a genuinely terrifying strategist. She's not driven by heartbreak or jealousy, she's driven by perfectionism, fear of failure, and a deep hunger for control. Her breakdown doesn't redeem her, it haunts us. Because, for once, we're allowed to see a female villain unravel without being forgiven. And then there's Yzma from The Emperor's New Groove. She drives the plot rather than reacting to it. She's never sidelined, never reduced to feminine stereotypes, never apologizing for her ambition. These characters prove one crucial truth. Compelling female villains don't need gendered constraints. They can be as threatening, complex, and unapologetic as any male villain, when writers have the courage
and also
to let
unattractive
them.
if so be
The
too.
ultimate message cuts to the core. Womanhood should never disqualify you from being the most terrifying force in the room. Female evil doesn't require tragic backstories, sexy outfits, or mother issues as permission slips. The best villainesses own their wickedness completely, unconstrained by tropes, stereotypes, or society's discomfort with powerful women who choose darkness. Great stories have great villains. It's about time we let women be gloriously, unforgettably evil. And if you want to learn how to do it right, how to build a villain reveal that actually lands regardless of their gender, check out our video on how to foreshadow a twist villain. Because the best villains don't just surprise you.
Yeah, this channel has a lot of videos on like villain characters. They're really, really, really good. I strongly recommend anyone who's into like writing stories and all that, like we are, go check out Toon. That channel is awesome. So we had to say about that. How not to write a female villain.
Very interesting. I'll definitely be checking it out. How much I know.
Hey, did that maybe get you any ideas for series like it did for me?
I'll probably have to watch it fully later on and see if it gets me anything. But it might be more likely particular villains in a larger story than one in a full one.
But anyways, there's the link to the channel if you want to check it out later. It's really good. They do a lot of good Pixar ones. Alright, so now...
Thank you.
So now, on to the next topic.
Sexist Karen running for office, with the running in quotation marks.
Yeah, this is really, really, really funny. Let's just get straight to the video that Mike covered. This is too funny.
There are a lot of really good women in office.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hate on anyone. Even like some really good congresswomen. I don't think women should hold office in general.
So this woman doesn't think women should be allowed to run for office, yet she's running for office.
And what is she doing? Being a hypocrite, because that's her entire existence.
Man's position.
Yeah.
Well, I say would. There's a reason why runs in quotation marks, which Mike will cover in a little bit. It's even funnier.
That's my stance.
Okay.
Run the home.
Hey, if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, that is perfectly fine. We embrace it. But if women want to run for office, that's their decision. Stupid Karen.
You just heard from Miley Biggs on the August 8th episode of the Matt McCurdy program from last year, where they were talking about Kamala Harris's campaign, and as you heard, Miley, a woman, this woman in particular, said that she doesn't think women should hold public office. Now, despite saying that...
Hey, women can be misogynist too.
Absolutely.
She recently made this announcement on Twitter where she writes, I am Miley Biggs. I am running for state senate in LD14. My parents taught me to love my country, the Constitution, and to value my freedoms. I've watched so many good people in my life serve this country in the military and in public office. I too seek to serve. Right, but this announcement begs the question, Miley. What the fuck? You just said that women shouldn't hold public office.
And
so
yet
shouldn't you suspend your campaign in order to make way for a man?
Exactly.
I mean,
hey, bitch, go back into the kitchen and make me a sandwich. How about that one?
I could understand if you said this 10, 15 years ago, but have since matured and apologized for such dumb fuck views. But you just said this less than a year before you announced your campaign. Make it make sense, Miley, because it's not making sense. What's next? Are you going to say, well, actually, I think that we should yeet all homosexuals into outer space, only to a year from now announce your engagement to a woman? Like, I don't have any tea, but my gaydar is going off. Putting that aside, though, this level of hypocrisy should make you feel shameful. But I don't think that she has that mechanism in her brain. But I mean, it goes without saying, if your ideal world excludes women from positions of power where they're subjugated and considered their husband's property, then kindly see yourself out. Why are you running for Congress after...
Which conservatives believe. Looking at you, especially Charlie Kirk.
You just said women shouldn't hold positions of power. Live the principles that you're espousing.
Yeah, if you don't think women should run for office, then don't run for office yourself.
A damn hypocrite.
Yep.
Now, others responded to her announcement on Twitter, echoing the same
running in quotation marks, which you'll see in a bit.
Sentiment, saying, aren't you the fucking blank who said women shouldn't hold office, LMFAO? Weird that you said women shouldn't run for office, but here you are.
Yeah, really,
You've expressed your opinion. Women shouldn't run for office, yet you're running for office, which begs the question, do you identify as a man? Are you a hypocrite, a liar, or is this a coming out announcement? And that's just the small sample of some of the more tame responses to her brazen hypocrisy. But ironically, this is a relatively new district that's never had a female representative. So in the event she were to win, she'd be breaking the glass ceiling, so to speak, and she would be the first representative to represent LD14. And just so we're clear, that small clip that you heard wasn't her saying something to be edgy or ironic. She wasn't being sarcastic. She goes on to explain in this podcast at length why she believes to her core that women absolutely should not hold public office.
It is kind of a hot take even amongst the conservatives. A lot of my own, circle don't agree with that necessarily. Women should be wherever they want, but I don't know, it's just modern feminism has transformed incredibly in the past few years, starting with women's right to vote, and went rampant.
Let me guess, you don't think women should have the right to vote? I'd be surprised if you say that.
From there, and
they probably think that that others want their but they probably want to reduce it to 6 or something.
That reminded me of Aunt Cunter. Remember she said women should
not yes, Aunt Cunter.
When she said that women should not be allowed to vote unless... Well, I can't remember if it was because if there's conservatives or authors or whatever, which she happened to be her, so she could vote but no other women. Oh my god, that was so sad.
Yeah.
There's so many videos on even TikTok where so many girls are waking up and are like, whoever fought for my right to work, I hate them.
TikTok's not real life. How about that one?
Hate a 9-to-5 schedule. Like, I get home.
Then don't work then. Hope you have someone who can support you then.
I'm like, I don't want to do anything else. Like, women aren't built for this.
Yeah.
Like,
put me back in the kitchen, bro.
Yeah, no, literally. Like, I just want to be a wife. I just want to be a mom. Like,
then go do that then. Nothing's stopping you unless you scare men away, which, I mean, you would scare me away because I have high standards and I don't want no trad-con waifu.
That's what I want to do, and I think a lot of other women are waking up to that too. They're like, I don't want a 9-to-5. I want to be a wife. I want to be a mom.
Not all women want to do that, though. If you want to do that, go right ahead. I don't care. But there are women who want to work. Or most cases, too, women have to work because the economy can't afford someone staying home anymore. So, yeah.
Like, all the feminism leaving their bodies once they have to, do a 9-to-5.
Right.
And, like, I totally agree with that. And I think that applies to politics, too. Like, women are supposed to be the nurturers and,
No, just like men aren't whatever the fuck you all say. Anyone could be anything.
Take
men
care
can
of
be
the
nurturing
home, be
too.
mothers, and
right.
Like, if you're out in Congress or out doing something else, like, what are your kids doing? Or, like, are you,
Yeah.
And, like, that's really what I'm not trying to be sexist in any way. I truly...
You are being sexist, sorry.
believe that that's what women are really good at. That's where they, that's where they shine, is at home.
Yeah.
No. It's up to the individual person to decide what they want to do.
Take care of kids, nurturing, whereas the men are really good at providing. And, like...
Being misandrous, too, that men need to be the providers. No. Us men can decide what we want to do, too, just like you women can decide what you want to do.
Biologically, that's how it works, too. I
Right.
think that's how it was meant to be. And so, like... men in office is where I'm saying. That's where I'm at, because, like, I want to be at home.
Right.
I want to be a wife and a mom.
Well, if you want to be at home and be a wife or a mom, then the good news is that you can do that. There's nobody stopping you specifically from doing that. But you see, the problem...
Unless, of course, you scare men away, which any decent man should always be terrified of conservative women because they're freaks.
With conservatives is that they want to push their personal preferences on everyone else in society, even though they very clearly don't want to live the way that they're saying we all should be forced to live. They're forced birthers, therefore everyone else should be forced birthers too. Yet we get story after story about Republican men paying for abortions for their mistresses. They're also anti-gay, so everybody else has to be anti-gay too. They can't get gay married, yet they're caught snorting coke off of gay sex workers' boners at truck stops seemingly every single fucking week. But of course, God forgives, right? They're anti-porn, so you shouldn't be allowed to look at porn. But of course, they're going to look at porn, but it's okay because they're going to ask God for forgiveness, so I guess that cancels it out. Po Buddy's nerfed, right? They're against the idea of no-fault divorce these days, so nobody else should be allowed to get divorced, yet that doesn't stop them. They get divorced, and nobody bats an eye when they do it. They hate immigrants, yet they love immigrant culture. They eat at their restaurants and benefit from their labor, yet they want all of the immigrants gone. How about this? Here's my proposal for Republicans. Mind your own motherfucking business. Have you ever considered that?
No, Mike. They're Karens. They have to put their nose into everything.
Kylie can choose to LARP as a traditional woman or whatever from the 1800s, and the rest of us can do what the fuck we want, right? If she wants to have her husband dictate her every move, that's fine. But she doesn't get to push her backwards-ass antiquated lifestyle on the rest of us, on all other women. And she mentioned that other women are waking up because she saw a TikTok of them condemning the women who fought for the right to work. First of all, I think they were probably being facetious and you were just too stupid to realize it. Second of all, nobody wants to work. But since Republicans...
I don't know about that, Mike. There are people that do want to work.
Like you voted to gut our social safety net programs and transfer our wealth to the rich, households can't survive on a single income. So even if women wanted to not work and stay at home and just be moms, well, they don't really have a choice these days.
Yeah, because it's too
Not
expensive.
to mention, and this is the most important point, women fought for suffrage and financial independence for good reason, because it wasn't fair for them to be inextricably linked to their husbands for the rest of their lives, because if he was abusive or stupid or they just wanted to leave, them not being able to work essentially trapped them. Women wanted freedom, and they wanted to be able to exist independently, and it took centuries to achieve a higher level of social and political equality in our deeply patriarchal system. So it is so gross to me that you're shitting on the courageous women who fought for your freedom to be a hypocritical dipshit without their hard work.
Micah brought up patriarchy in the church?
And sacrifices, you wouldn't be able to speak on the podcast that you were speaking on without your husband's permission or your father's permission, let alone run for Congress. So you should thank these women, Miley. But she won't do that because her internalized misogyny runs even deeper than we just heard.
What country wants a woman defending them?
Seriously.
I mean, I'd rather have Kamala than Trump right now, so yeah, I would rather have a woman in that circumstance.
Like, same thing with the Secret Service thing. You see the women
they're like trying to get their...
It was
Did you see
actually
that
embarrassing.
I'm like, I don't want a woman protecting you, I want men.
I'm pretty sure they're talking about the Trump assassination, how the Secret Service screwed up. And remember, Secret Service was run by a woman who had to resign because of how incompetent it was running all that, but...
Yep.
That doesn't mean women aren't incompetent. There are men that are very incompetent. Look at the FBI and Kash Patel when they couldn't find Charlie Kirk's assassin just recently. That's how incompetent he was.
Exactly.
Are you kidding? Oh my word, women, there's certain things for women, there's certain things for men.
Yeah.
No, women can do the same things men can do. They just gotta meet the same requirements, and they can do it.
Yes, because the femoid brain is only capable of cooking and popping out babies, and their weak fingers couldn't possibly pull a trigger without the guidance of a strong man. Okay, Miley, if you think that women are so weak and men are so strong, how do you explain Lindsey Graham and Mike Johnson? Can't explain that, right? Are they just anomalies, or are people built different? See, I think that the problem is that you are a beta female, and you're projecting your weakness onto other women who are indeed strong and can do anything that men can do. And because you lack the confidence and intelligence that other women have, you just assume that the same is true for all other women. But in actuality, that's a you problem, Miley. But I found something out about her that explains...
There are very strong women out there. Women athletes who would beat the crap out of me, no effort.
So much. And if you stare into this picture, let's put it back up on the screen, and you look really closely into her eyes for some time, you'll notice a really striking deadness that's terrifying yet oh so familiar. You've seen these dead eyes before, even if you don't think you have. Just look closely. Those are the eyes of fascist insurrectionist Congressman Andy Biggs, who happens to be the father of this woman-hating lady. And to that I say, of course he dares his daughter to hate women too, because the apple doesn't fall...
Your dad sucks, Karen.
Far from the tree, after all. But if you look at her Twitter feed, she's enthusiastically supporting her father's campaign for governor. So their politics seem to be identical, which is even more embarrassing for her because she just graduated from the University of Arizona with a degree in political science. So she very clearly didn't learn anything. And even though she's seemingly abandoning her traditional values when it comes to women in office, at least, since she's running for office, she's still trying to invoke nostalgia for the traditional values that she espoused on that pod.
You're going to have to return that degree because women cannot get an education by your logic. Sorry, no degree for you. Plus, you're an idiot, so you wouldn't even use it properly.
Guess for her campaign. And to be clear, when I say traditional values, I mean racism. Because she retweeted this person who noticed that she modeled her campaign logo after Barry Goldwater's logo, who opposed civil rights for Black Americans. Although that seems to be the only thing that she's actually done with regard to her campaign, because as the Phoenix New Times reports, since her announcement, little else has happened with Biggs' campaign. Biggs still has not filed a campaign finance report, even though the report for the second quarter of 2025 was due on July 21st. Her candidate profile on the Arizona Secretary of State's office shows she has not raised any money yet. But I bet she'd respond by saying, see, this just proves that women shouldn't run.
That's amazing.
That's why I'm saying by running, because she legally isn't even running really.
For office, because if I were a man, I would have already launched a website and filed my second quarter campaign finance report. But since I'm procrastinating so much, it kind of proves how incompetent women are and how they really shouldn't be doing this.
Maybe
I mean,
you're
it wouldn't surprise me if she actually unironically said something like this, given how absurd this is.
You're probably too incompetent to be a busser like I am. I'm like, hey, maybe you should clean up all the plates instead. How about that one? Oh, but you'd probably drop him, of course.
Entire debacle has been. Either way, I definitely hope that she loses, obviously, not only because being a Nepo baby shouldn't entitle you to a seat for public office, but because I am so goddamn sick and tired of Republicans who say one thing and do another. I get that they have no shame, but when you are this hypocritical, I feel like there has to be at least some level of shame that kicks in. I get that they don't have that mechanism, but like, after enough people make fun of you, does that not get you to at least stop and think, maybe I should at least try to be more consistent or a little bit more consistent or at least like rethink some of the things that I've said? I don't know. Again, like if you're against women in politics though, live your truth, queen, spare us all, and stay the fuck out of politics. You don't have to get into politics just because your daddy's in politics. You can stay at home and be the mom that you said you want to be. And this goes for all of the other hypocritical conservatives as well. Like if you're against homosexuality, stop sucking each other off at CPAC and crashing Grindr servers. If you're against abortions, stop getting them for your mistresses. Stop trying to force the rest of us to live in a world that even you clearly don't want to live in, for fuck's sake.
Exactly. How about get a job? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, like this fat fuck has done. So yeah, we gotta say, a stupid Karen cunt running for office and not running at the same time. Oh my goodness.
That sounds about right.
Oh my goodness, that is so unbelievably sad. Alright, now on to the next topic.
Alright. Reacting to Gen Z poll, an important to personal definition of success.
Yes, Rational National Dole did this video recently, but he only covered a little bit of it, and I saw this on Reddit like last week, so I decided, let's cover it too. So, I'm now getting the picture on the chat, not the chat, OBS. There we go. As I'm going to try and load up right here, because I think I still have it. It's a poll that was done by NBC on Gen Z voters, and split up between men and women Trump and Harris voters, and it asked, what do you think is the most important thing for your definition of personal success and all that, as there's the poll and such. So I figured we'd take a look at it. Now, of course, even though we're not Gen Z, as a male who voted for Kamala, I figured, how about I talk about it? I think my opinion should have some sway in and such.
Yeah, so, and as a Zillennial, I'm like one who's like largely a lot of the time considered, most of the time by millennial, but sometimes Gen X, Gen Z.
Alright, so of course, here's what male voters for Harris said was the most important thing. 54% said the most important thing was having a fulfilling job and career. Alright, now, as someone who's just started working recently, I don't know if I necessarily need a fulfilling job, as long as it's something that pays well, and I can tolerate it, which, bussin', I'll say after doing it for a week, it was very difficult the last 2 days doing it on my own for several hours with flat feet, walking nonstop. Oh boy, that was painful and all that. But other than that, it's tolerable, so yeah, I can see that very important. The next most important thing The next important thing was having money to do the things you want. Absolutely, because money is very important in a capitalist society. Being able to eat, being able to pay bills, and of course, eventually, with my job, get my computer upgrade so I can play more modern games. Get myself a Switch 2, so I can also get my Switch Online membership renewed so I can do Mario Party with Adam on his streams and such. And anything left, I will use to pay artists to work on my manga. So yeah, having money is very important, obviously. The next thing was using talents and resources to help others. Personally, I don't really know if I would prioritize that. Other than, of course, government programs and stuff. But, personally for me, I don't know if I would prioritize that. I would put that more on the bottom and not the third most important thing. Now, the next one, this would be the number one thing on my list. Financial independence. Absolutely vital.
Financial independence. Yes. This
is absolutely vital. Everyone should want this. And 29% of male Harris voters said that was the most important thing. Absolutely. That should be number one. I'm honestly a little annoyed.
That women who voted for Trump. 32% of women who voted for Harris. And 33% of men who voted for Trump.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, I would put that number one. And honestly, financial independence, having money to do things and fulfilling job career, you can honestly put them all three together because they're pretty much the same thing. And then the next one was having emotional stability. Yes, that's very important. Having the right mentality and mental issues are all taken care of. That's very important. And then next one is making family and community proud. And I don't give a crap about that. Owning my own house. Hopefully be able to move out eventually so I can see it maybe being important. But otherwise, not really that much to me. Having no debt. That honestly might be number 2 on the list too. Never have any debt. Avoid debt as much as possible. Yeah, absolutely important. Try to avoid debt at all costs. Then next up, getting married. No. Marriage sucks. Having kids. No. Kids suck. Able to retire early. I don't really care about that right now. Because especially since I doubt Social Security.
You're not going to be able to.
Unless I do stock market, which, by the way, I've been doing recently.
Okay.
Because I'm big brain. But yeah, I don't really care about retiring early. But yeah, people should be able to retire when they want to or need to. And the last one, being grounded spiritually. I'm an atheist, so I don't give a fuck about that. So those are what men that voted for Harris cared about. Now, of course, women who voted for Harris, they viewed the same thing. Like, the first 2 things was the exact same thing. Fulfilling job and having money to do things. They valued emotional stability more. Funds and resources was lower. More financial independence was lower on the list, but higher percentage, which is a little odd. They valued having no debt, which I think is important. They valued owning a home more. They did not value having family as much. They valued grounded spiritually more. And retirement, they value
early at pretty much identical rates.
Yeah, so basically, Harris voters do not give a fuck at all about having kids and getting married and all that. All they care about is financial and mental well-being and health well-being too as well. Yep. Now, Trumpsters, however, this is actually a little bit interesting. Men who voted for Trump, the main thing is that they care about is having kids, which so stupid.
And that one's in the women who voted for Trump. That's in 6th place.
Yeah, at least women who voted for Trump are smart. They're doing the right thing. The financial independence is number 1.
Yes,
number 1 most important thing. But
and it's number 2 in men who vote for Trump as well. So, because I think that's financial independence, like, consistently within the top 5 across all of them.
Although,
and a fulfilling job career is in the top 3 for all of them.
Although I'm a little disappointed that fellow men that voted for Harris, financial independence is only 4th. Couldn't you have made number 1? At least women that voted for Trump were smart in this poll. Like, come on, man, that's supposed to be number 1 course. But Trumpsters that want male Trump voters that want kids, you guys are silly. Financial independence is more important. And then 29% want to get married. Stupid and such. But yeah, look at the bottom. They don't care about emotional stability, as David Dole pointed out. So you don't care about your mental well-being, but you want to have kids.
Bottom. Using talents and resources to help others being 3rd from the bottom.
Yeah. So you guys just want to have kids and get married for the track-on lifestyle, but you don't want to have emotional stability, which is very important. So you don't have, like, mental breakdowns and all that. Oh, it's right. You guys don't believe in, like, mental issues and think everyone should suffer with them. And because you don't believe they're real.
They actually encourage having those breakdowns because that's how they own people.
Yeah. Absolutely really stupid. And now back to women that vote for Trump, of course. Financial independence. That's a smart thing. It seems, other than the religious stuff, women who voted for Trump seem to be more financially smarter. Probably up there, maybe a little bit more smarter somewhat than the Harris voters somewhat. Other than, of course, the... Okay, no, actually, like, the main things at the top, I kind of agreed with and such. It's just the spiritual stuff I don't agree with.
Top 3, yeah.
Having kids, of course, while not as high as men, it's still a little, too high for me. Surprisingly, women Trump voters don't want to get married that much. It's the same bracket as men who vote for Harris that want to get married, which is quite surprising.
Yeah.
Right? It's men, male Trump voters that want to get married the most. Everyone else is like, no, not really. We don't want to get married.
They want to trap they trap women, and so they can abuse and rape and murder them.
Mm-hmm. Of course, they're terrible in having emotional stability. It's third to last.
Not surprising. They vote for Trump, so they're not emotionally stable.
That's what's That's very surprising that they think making family and community proud is the second to least most important thing. That's astonishing.
And able to retire early is right at the bottom.
Yeah.
That's actually one consistently in the bottom 3 amongst all of them.
Yeah, I can see why.
With not a single one being in double digits.
Yeah, I easily.
I guess that's because pretty much everyone in Gen Z believes that they're never going to be allowed to retire.
Also,
retirement's going to be illegal.
Also, women Trump voters are probably like, I'll let my husband go take care of me. I don't give a crap about retirement because they're ignorant and such. So, yeah, this is a very interesting poll and such. What do you have to say about it?
I find it quite interesting as well.
It's very interesting and fascinating. Some things are not surprised, but then there are things that are like really, really surprising and such. But yeah, we have to say about, specifically for me, men who voted for Harris. We got to say about what they think.
I find it very interesting.
And we got to say about me.
Like I said, the trends of fulfilling job career being at the top consistently, in the top 3, able to retire early in the bottom 3 consistently, and all the differences there. It's like a lot. It really shows
big difference.
The differences between Trump voters and Harris voters, and some of the differences between men and women as well.
Yeah, the main difference is that Trumpsters want to have families and all that, and we on the left by and large do not, because we think they're cringe. We value making money and all that, take care of stuff we like. So yeah, very interesting poll and such. But yeah, like I said, for me, if I was put on this list, financial independence would be number 1. What about you?
Same.
Like, you could put, like, having money and financial independence and job, career, and all that, like, all 3 together. That would definitely be the top 3 every time. And yeah, the family and get married, they would be at the bottom for me, because I don't give a crap about that. But yeah, very interesting poll and such. Alright, so now, on to the next topic.
And that is the second last one. Ukrainian refugee train murder shows true colors.
So, of course, this happened a few days before Kirk got assassinated. It was like the main thing conservatives talked about. So, Dylan Burns actually did a video on it. I haven't watched it yet, but knowing how good he is, I'm sure he'll cover it very well. But the story is, some time ago, a Ukrainian refugee from Ukraine is in America. She was on some sort of like subway or something, and she sat on the subway on her phone and whatever, and there was this black guy behind her, and you're already seeing where this is going to be going. Got up from underneath behind her, took out a knife, and stabbed her to death. And just casually walked off like it was nothing. And of course, when he was arrested, it turns out the guy had severe mental disabilities, like think schizophrenia and such, and he was arrested and he was like arrested like 14 times and such, and got away with it, and just kept being released and all that, really stupid and such. So yeah, he was arrested and all that, and the right, of course, kept trying to bring it up all the time and such. A lot of it was just straight up racism, and you got to admit, conservatives, if you're watching, we can't talk about this unless you're willing to admit that a lot of them were bringing up because of racism. And if he wasn't black, conservatives would have never talked about it. You need to at least acknowledge that. Now, and of course, they keep obsessing about it and such, even though the guy is arrested and all, like, what's there to talk about? They're crying more like, no one talks about it because he's black and all that. It's only us that talk about it because we're racist and such. Or maybe people don't really
It's the only thing, yeah, exactly. These people only talk about it because they're racist.
Yep.
And they hate minorities.
Wouldn't you consider that since the guy was caught, there's nothing really to talk about? I'm sure if he wasn't caught, he would have been, this would have probably been covered more and such. Like, it's really not that hard to understand why no one covered it. It's not because he's black. It's because there's nothing else to say. He did a murder. He got caught. Like, what else is there to say? So, of course, let's get into Dylan Burns' video on it.
Okay. I think it's time to talk about the story. We can't avoid it anymore. We can't. We can't run away. Like Elon says we are from the story, us Ukraine supporters. Did you guys see that?
Oh, of course, Charlie Kirk, the first thing, 3 days before he died. That's how recent it was. And of course, when he was assassinated, everyone stopped talking about it.
That Elon says that Ukraine supporters are running away from this. Can't help but notice every account with the Ukrainian flag in their handle hasn't said shit about this woman.
Even though I don't have Ukraine's flag in my Twitter handle, as a pro-Ukrainian based person, I'll talk about it. I didn't know about it because what is there to talk about? The only reason I know about it is because you conservatives cry about it all the time. But we'll talk about it now you brought it up, and I have no problem talking about it, so we'll get into it.
And then you see this horrible stabbing. Elon Musk says, odd.
No, there's nothing odd about it. There's just nothing to talk about, really.
Stabbed was, Ukraine flags. Odd. Why aren't you talking about it?
Because what's there to talk about?
You guys demented.
Exactly.
How do you guys engage with politics? You see like a brutal murder, and we'll talk about this in a moment. You see a brutal murder, but your first thought is, how do I weaponize this against my political opponents? Or how do I use this specifically in my political avenue, as we're about to see?
We want to talk about because it was an N-word. I mean, black person.
To increase racial tensions in the United States.
Pretty much.
So let's talk about what happened. So Irina Zarkuska, she is a Ukrainian refugee. Here's Charlie Kirk saying, say her name, right?
Kirk, you don't give a flying fuck about Ukrainians. We just saw you like an hour ago debating at how Russia should be allowed to murder every single Ukrainian they get their hands on. You don't care about Ukrainians. You're using this to go after the left. I don't want to hear it. You're a piece of shit. Fuck you.
The Ukrainian refugee,
pretty much,
which came to the United States and then was murdered. She was murdered on the train, as you can see from many people reposting it in many different formats of race seeing you. I didn't see races. The only way I've been seeing it is in formats like that, where she was murdered brutally on the train, stabbed from behind, doing absolutely nothing wrong. And the reaction to this has been for a few reasons. There's been just an overwhelming reaction. One of the reasons is because there wasn't a lot of immediate coverage when the footage dropped. Because the only reason we're talking about it now is because the footage dropped and people have been sharing it around like crazy, and it's pretty awful.
Yeah, just like how police activities, when they upload videos, sometimes they're from a few days ago, sometimes they're a few weeks ago, sometimes they're over a year ago. They're not allowed to release the footage yet, sometimes.
Pretty much.
The investigation needs to be done first.
But the one critique was that it's not being talked about enough, right? Which, fair enough. Okay, there's a pretty brutal train murder. You know, I think, maybe this person probably deserves, justice. They deserve everything
he's arrested, so he will face justice.
Could get from a decent criminal justice system. Okay, makes sense. Good. But the way it's being talked about, in the idea that, it needs more attention, is it needs more attention in their avenue, i.e., amongst weaponization for race relations.
Yeah, because that's what it boils down to. They want to talk about because a black person did. That's all it comes down to. Racism.
Let me give you an example. Race seeing you. I don't see race. Saying that no matter what, even if you don't see race, race still sees you and you will be a victim. Saying that, you might not be racist, but no matter what, they'll still come for you. 5.4 million views. You've got people coming out here saying stuff like, what's more lethal to Ukrainians, Russian tanks or black people?
Okay, racist much? Oh no, Kaguya's Top Gal. Oh god, that's a Nazi account on Twitter I've seen all the time. Oh
fucking hell.
Fucking anime Nazis, I swear. Freaking using Kaguya-sama Love is War 2. That manga's great. Now I have to think about Kaguya's Top Gal every time I see it. Fuck you.
She ran from the war.
Ugh, Betty Johnson. Oh, get that Russian asset out of here. Get him out of here.
She came here for safety, and America failed her. 23-year-old...
I don't want to hear from you, Russian asset.
Irina Zarkutska was butchered on a Charlotte light rail. Night rail, I believe is what he meant. Her throat cut open by a violent repeat offender who had been arrested 14 times and was still free. This wasn't random. This was preventable. This is a war on white people.
Fuck.
Benny Johnson, listen to his race baiting people. No, it's not big. It's not a war against whites. It's a random attack. Just stop. Stupid.
That let violent criminals
Like, guys,
roam.
you can't deny that this is just flat out racism and race baiting. Like, stop. Just stop.
While innocent people pay the price. If Irina was black and her killer was white, the media would be rioting nonstop. But because she's white, they stay silent. This is
no. We're not silent on it. He was captured. So what is there to talk about?
Yeah, got him.
And I'm telling you, if it was the other way around, once he's captured, no one would talk about it. No one would care.
It's evil and it's deliberate.
Exactly.
18.4 million views. Now, there's a bunch of different variations of this. These are just the ones that I'm showing because these are the ones I could pull up upon a quick search around. Well, we'll probably look at one or two more examples in a second. But the first thing I want to say here is, if this is completely on a racial lens. This is using this poor girl's murder, this refugee's murder, to try to increase racial tensions in the United States. You know what you're saying here about, if Irina was black and her killer was white. Okay, here's a question. If it was two black people, he wouldn't be talking about it. He wouldn't.
Exactly,
if it was
yeah.
two white people, he would not be talking about it.
Which is...
White people and white people are
Which
the
is
most
funny,
likely to hurt each
but
other
since blacks usually...
because white
The
people
biggest
live near
killer
other
of blacks
white
is other
people.
blacks.
Black people
But
are
they
most
never
likely
bring
to
that
hurt
up
other
for
black
some
people
reason.
when it comes to crime, because black people live around other black people. It has to do with a whole
Likewise,
bunch of factors.
whites are
White
killed majority by
flight, how
white
people
people.
segregate
All the ethnic
themselves,
groups are usually killed
the
by their fellow
history of
ethnic
housing
groups.
regulations and racially discriminatory housing laws. But none of those stories are going to get the national headlines because they don't appeal to racial animus. It doesn't make you think, oh, that's the other. Because if you're a black person watching a black person, for a black person, you don't think racial animus. You just think, well, that's horrible. That's a bunch of people hurting each other because that's you. If you're a white person, see a white person hurt another white person, there's no racial animus to that. It's, that's just, some local criminal or some local bad guy, or, that guy needs some mental health help, Oh, that poor fella. But once it's racially intertwined, then it's useful to be mentioned, then it's useful to be talked about. Because if you look at Benny Johnson, is Benny Johnson covering white on black crime? Is Benny Johnson even covering black on black crime or white on black crime? No, he only covers
No, they'll
black
only
on
cover
black crime.
1350.
And for it to come from
and
this
do it in the most racist way possible.
Neanderthal
Of course they always do. That's what they always do, remember?
The Russian government in order to produce their propaganda.
Reminds
so
us
he
when
could
we
lie
covered
about
black crime
terrorist
back like in
attacks,
2019.
do everything he could to demonize Ukrainians.
And did
at
in the
his
smart
pay
way,
by
unlike
the
these
Russian government.
clowns.
He's getting paid to do that.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. He's going out there and suggesting, well, then maybe the Moscow mall attack was actually done by Ukrainians. It was done by...
And like Dylan Bird's pointing out, remember, Betty Johnson, Russian asset, anything he says should be dismissed.
ISIS, but he's
and he
doing
should be banned
that
from social
to
media.
spread animus about Ukrainians. So when the
Pretty
Russian
much.
tanks that the other person said, who kills more, tanks or black? Tanks. The tanks kill more people. The drones, the bombing, that kills tons and tons of people. These people, I don't even know if they care about white people. I have to say, I don't even know, because if you're on one hand going to do the dirty work of the regime currently killing the most white people on the planet in Ukraine, no hold bars, and then come back to the United States and then try to
Russian Nazi state
cast
racist
yourself
against
as
white
the
people?
protector of the white woman.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Not to mention the fact, if this woman, here's the hard truth, if this woman was torn apart by a Russian bomb instead of a knife on a train,
Or fucking raped and executed like I've seen on Gorgash.
Benny Johnson would
But conservatives
care
think it's funny when
not at
Ukrainian women are raped
He
and
wouldn't
murdered.
care. Charlie Kirk wouldn't
Because they're
care.
evil.
Everybody else
That's
in the
what they
story
believe with
would not
women
care
and
at all.
girls
They
down
wouldn't
to
talk
about
about it, it would not be a
6,
headline.
down to about at least 9 years old.
They would probably get off at the fall of seeing that video I told you about on Twitter about Russian Nazis gleefully, brutally murdering that horse.
It would not be anywhere.
Yep.
And so when
God, makes
people
me
are
so mad
talking
thinking
about, why aren't the Ukraine flags talking about this, Ukraine flags talking about that? When's the last time Elon Musk talked about any atrocity in Ukraine. Has Elon Musk ever tweeted out the words human safari? Has Charlie Kirk? Has any of these people? The open hunting of, again, it doesn't even make sense.
Dylan, you need to make a shorter video on that so we can maybe cover it, because it's very important.
If you wanted to racialize it, there it is. Nothing. No engagement on it whatsoever. Why? Because they're paid by the Russians. Benny Johnson's
They're Russian
case,
assets that must be banned from
case,
social
at least.
media.
Lauren Southern's case, at least.
Exactly.
Maybe they need to be deported to Russia so they can be killed by Ukrainians on the front line.
They want racial tensions to increase in this country. This is the type of content Russia loves in this country. Russia wants America to have a race war. If America's having a race war, if America's too busy rioting over police violence and going out there and rioting over a lynching, or having people go out and try to hunt down vigilante-style criminals from Twitter videos that they saw out of context, or whatever it is, that means we're too busy dealing with our internal affairs. We're not dealing with defense issues in Europe. We're not dealing with that. The Russians had programs fully funded that would make Black Lives Matter protesters and All Lives Matter protesters, Blue Lives Matter protesters, go to the same places, where they would set up Facebook events from anonymous accounts next to each other, so that these people would fight and riot and increase tensions. This was part of the Internet Research Agency, which was headed by Yevgeny Prigozhin, the same Prigozhin that, went up in a puff of smoke after the plane crash during his attempted coup. But that shows, they have clear intentions, and this guy on
and you
Russia's
conservative
payroll
dipshits keep
actively
falling for
trying
it.
to increase racial tensions by using these Ukrainian refugees that if she died in any other way, he would not care. If she got run over by a tank, if she got killed the most brutal way in Ukraine, it would not care. It would not matter, because it wouldn't be politically convenient. Her death in that moment would be politically inconvenient, because it would be a death under the watch of Trump, the peace president, in a war he said he would end in 24 hours. So
how's that gone, Trump, you dipshit?
In the eyes of these people,
yeah, exactly.
Once they can be weaponized against black people. And that's extremely sick, to turn these people who are being victimized in a war as nothing more than a tool of your racial animus. And Benny Johnson is getting paid by foreign governments to do it. This
Again,
is somebody
Russian assets should be banned from
dude,
Twitter. No, not Twitter.
Red
All
Dawn
social
guy,
media.
If you're red,
banned from life.
Love, Wolverines, those movies, he would be very quick to be running up to that station to see if he can get that.
Oh, Betty Johnson would love reading this. I was just looking up Kyiv Independent for something to maybe talk about for a moment. Russia just did a massive drone attack in Ukrainian cities, and one person was already killed. Will you talk about that, Betty Johnson? We talk about the Russian Nazi state killing Ukrainians for no reason? Oh, it's right. You're a paid Russian asset, so of course you're not? Oh, well, how am I not surprised?
Money to
Piece of
play
shit.
on the propaganda channels.
That sounds about right.
Berlin calling. Rose of Tokyo. I don't know what.
Ukraine did a drone strike on oil refinery in Saratov Oblast. Let's go.
He would call himself in that scenario. But his loyalties to me do seem divided. I mean, come on. This only makes America a more dangerous place. And he knows it.
Yeah, because he's paid to say
these
it.
people are so blatant, too. Look, for example. This woman, remember her. Yet another senseless murder of a white woman.
Rena Zrutska was in Charlotte, North Carolina, got on a public transport one day after her long shift at the pizza shop, and a black person, unprovoked, they had never spoken before.
Why do you have to emphasize that they're black?
Because it's racism.
Of course.
You know what I would say? Crazy person. From the way that they were acting, that person was off their rocker. That's the first thing that comes to my mind, looking at them behind them. That's the first thing that comes to your mind is race. You're race obsessed. You're a race freak. And that's what we need to call these people.
No, Dylan.
We can't be
I'm not racist.
No,
I'm a race realist.
But they're race freaks. This is all they do.
AKA a real racist.
Is scroll on social
media. Damn, I just think of funny stuff right off the top of my head just like that, don't I?
Murdered so they can have their own racial revenge fantasy.
And you conservatives wonder why I make amazing manga stories.
You will see the depths of human depravity when it comes
and you're jealous
to
you can't
how
do
human
it.
beings can view each other.
No, I have my own I have my own writing positions. I have my own interests that have overlap but also are different from yours.
But they're still jealous that they can't think of anything.
Guy, no argument, no confrontation. She just went there, sat down. He was sitting back there. They said he had sat behind her for about 30 minutes before he took out a pocket knife, and she was stabbed in the throat and stabbed 2 other places, resulting in her dying on the scene.
Which is
I'm
horrible.
Sick of seeing this.
And
I mean,
hope he face justice, which
It's
he was
everywhere.
arrested, so he will.
This story is shocking
Good.
just because of the brutality of it alone. If we had a little bit more racial consciousness,
Oh,
and
of
we
course, have to
realized,
bring race in
maybe
again.
Don't put yourself in
Yeah,
the
of
vicinity of
course.
a black person.
That's their whole job. Race again.
Black people have their own spaces.
4th time now, race.
Race.
What does this person being black have anything to do with this? What? Oh, it's right, because you're racist.
This is the outrage she gets at this one white person being murdered on a train. Here's her talking about the war in Ukraine. Mind you, again, the biggest mass death event of white people in the 21st century. We don't care about Ukraine. We don't care about trans. We don't care about any of that. It's all just.
I care about
real
both of
issue,
them.
Jewish supremacy and the occupation.
Oh, it's the Jews. Of course, it's the Jews.
This is the Jews.
Ukraine is being occupied by Jews. Oh my god. So thank you for being an anti-Semite.
That's both the Russian Nazi state and the Islamic Nazi state of Chechnya.
So not only a racist, but an anti-Semite. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
F Russia, F Ukraine, F China.
Every negativist in the book.
So she doesn't care. It's not about white people. It's about her specific. Because don't say it's about white people. Say it's about American whiteness. Because it's not even about white people. Okay, white people are from Europe. Okay, we didn't sprout from the
Also,
earth.
maybe being a bot too. So the first tweet she's saying that she doesn't care about Ukrainians, but then the next tweet she talks about like fuck Russia and all that. Like, wait, what is it?
Here, we came here.
Are you a bot? Are you AI?
We came here hundreds of years ago, and then made it our own. So it's not about white people even. It's about your white community. It's about your whiteness. It's about your
and you think
vision of
Jews
white
aren't
America.
white.
It's not even about white people. She doesn't care about white people. She cares about white Americans. Okay, specifically. Irina Zerkuska. Charlie Kirk, somebody who said that the Ukrainians were not ready for a Jeffersonian-style democracy, so we shouldn't send some aid.
Fuck you!
By the way, the same Ukrainian nation that protested during the war.
Fuck you very, very much.
Again, this is why I don't feel sympathy for him for getting killed, people. I can't. When he's this much of a fucking retard. He wants Ukrainians to die. That's the end of the discussion.
On
And
their,
I don't have sympathy for that.
Penalty loosening. On their anti-corruption independence bill. I did want to check out advice from Lewis. This is the same person who did that decent enough TikTok back in the day, reacting to some anti-Ukraine hysteria. And he did one reacting to how this woman is also being weaponized. And I wanted to check in again because it's good to see some not terrible content coming out of TikTok.
We need to stop making everything about race.
Agreed.
However, a Ukrainian refugee was attacked today. It happened on a train station.
Oh no, it happened.
He was black. The aggressor and perpetrator was black. And she was not.
Okay, but was he like mentally ill? Like, what were the other aspects of?
I don't know. I didn't read the article. I just saw he was black and he had dreadlocks.
Okay, but like, this is a tragic event. This
I
is
know.
horrible, but, like, did they have like an altercation? Did he have a job? Like,
She had lighter skin and he had darker skin. To be honest, that's the only
Of course, it's just race.
okay, but so you didn't even read the story. You just looked at a picture and a headline, and you're talking about
Even
it
though
now.
I criticize Biden for giving Ukraine resources to fight their war, I've never expressed sympathy, only criticized them. Change the fact or distract from the fact
You
that
don't even care about the war in Ukraine.
Doesn't matter because he was black. It justifies my hate towards them.
This is great.
Okay, but why hyper focus?
Yeah.
This is a horrible thing.
That's what I'm saying.
This is a horrible thing. You shouldn't be using this though to like slander an entire.
Elon Musk even commented because we found out the judge was also black. Fire the D.
I don't think you care about this event at all. I think you just want to look at something to be angry about and to verify your hate.
I don't care about
This is classic conservatives.
Of course.
I don't know anybody's name in the story. I just know he was black.
Of course.
Nah, you need to leave. No. Yeah. No. Leave.
This isn't a narrative. It's just a simple fact that he was black.
Don't be a race freak.
That was great. What a finish. That is exactly exactly what conservatives would do. Just obsess over race. Oh, that was so funny. So, yeah, what do you guys say about the story?
Oh, this is bloody awesome.
It's terrible what happened to that woman, but the guy was captured. So, there's nothing else to talk about. So, drop it, people. Maybe if he was still around, you'd have an argument, but he's caught, so drop it. Oh my god, what a funny way to wrap up that one was. And now on to the next topic.
That is the last topic. Bernie Sanders educates naive MAGA.
So yeah, Bernie did what Bernie does best. He went into right-wing states like West Virginia, and he talked to Trumpsters, and of course, made them become progressive. For a moment, of course, because we know they're not to be trusted. But once again, base Bernie, as always. Also, his B-Day was recently, so happy B-Day! 84-year-old Bernie now. So, let's go watch him educate people that need education.
So Bernie Sanders, God bless him, he went to deep red West Virginia, and he decided he was gonna, do a rally speech there, or host like a town hall there, and talk to a bunch of Trump voters who are struggling. And shout out to More Perfect Union for doing this video. But it's some interesting things happened, let's say. Take a look.
Oh, that's my son. Hey, what's going on? They're having a video shot here, and it's about Bernie Sanders coming to town, and they know that we're all Trump supporters.
What happens when you put Bernie Sanders in a room full of Trump voters?
I was shocked. I was like, oh.
Not as bad as they had told you, huh?
This is not how he's portrayed.
It's complicated. But then again, so is West Virginia.
This is West, by God, Virginia.
A state that voted blue for almost 80 years straight, until it flipped hard to become the second reddest state in the country.
This is a state where Donald Trump got 70%.
Really? It's easy to assume that West Virginia will be red forever, but I'm not so sure. I live here, and I talk to a lot of Trump voters about floods that leveled their homes, power bills that climb every year, and you'd be surprised how many of them sound like Bernie Sanders.
The billionaires, they don't need a tax break.
They're trying to give all the billionaires and rich people breaks. That's the opposite of what you should be doing.
So when I heard that Bernie was rolling through, I wanted to know, can a Democratic socialist from Vermont, who's not even running for president, connect in the heart of Trump country?
All right, where should I sit? I'm in the middle here.
Apparently they can. For the rest of the country, if he did.
You started with Trump, and then now you're a whole volunteer.
A whole volunteer for Bernie Sanders. He's just ultra-liberal. He's a socialist.
I'm sorry to get everybody in trouble here.
And me? I got to drive him around in my truck and find out.
Senator, welcome back to West Virginia. I know it's not your first time here.
No, it is not. Been here several times, and I must tell you, I love the state, actually. It's a beautiful state, and I very much enjoy the people. Very down-to-earth, working-class people. We campaigned here very vigorously.
Yeah.
In 2016.
Yes.
And we had to take on Hillary Clinton and Joe Manchin and the whole Democratic Party establishment. We went to places where politicians don't usually go, including McDowell County, down in the southern part of the state.
Bernie Sanders, who joins me now.
I remember that. I feel like we covered that town hall. And in that town hall, he got, right-wingers to agree that, universal health care is good, and got them to agree to a lot of the policies he advocates for.
We are the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee health care to all people as a right. What do you think? Do you think we should join other countries and guarantee health care as a right of all?
Yeah, I think every American citizen should have health care.
Look at Base Bernie doing a great job, as always, people.
We won every single county in the state.
In 2016.
Gee, maybe if a certain party just voted for him to be their nominee in 2016, 2020, maybe we would be in a better place. Just saying.
Bernie didn't just win West Virginia.
Pretty much.
He shocked everybody.
But remember, the corporate Democrats are paid to lose.
Big victory in West Virginia.
It's interesting. You got people who get surprised at the fact that Bernie actually did very well in a lot of the conservative states. Even though he's further left than Hillary, the more conservative states voted for him in the primaries, right? And they go, wait, that doesn't make sense because he's further left, so in theory, shouldn't they vote for the more conservative candidate? That would be Hillary, not Bernie. But you're seeing this now, too, with Zoran Mamdani. Zoran is, he was, above water in popularity, I believe, with young conservatives. They actually liked him. And,
surprising.
It's interesting, right? You would
think... They thought that'd be all about supporting wife beating.
They don't. And I think it has more to do with authenticity, number one. Number two,
Yeah, even conservatives that do hate Bernie, they can't deny that he's genuine. I've never met one that's...
Yep.
I've never seen a conservative online that says that Bernie's, like, paid off or anything like that. Even they who hate him admit that he's genuine.
Just objectively trying to help people. Like, clearly the issues Bernie talks about, he wants to help people. And they go, I could use some help, so I agree with that. I don't even think they're thinking about it in, a partisan way or a political way or who's further left and who's further right. No, it's just like, who do I like? I like what they're saying. Who is saying better things? Zoran won so many people over when he said in that debate.
Because
like,
Bernie's charismatic.
I'm not going to
and he has
Israel.
amazing vibes. And that appeals to people, which to me, I hate
just
immensely,
that
but that's what people
cut through
fall
a lot of
for.
BS and made a lot of people love him.
But hey,
and
Bernie's very good at that.
Zoran's enemies thought, oh, that makes him look bad.
Pretty much.
Right? And so... politics does not break down as neatly as you think it would. Oftentimes you get things like this where Bernie, he's further to the left than Hillary, but he won a lot of the conservative states. All of them, actually, I think.
But that was just a Democratic primary in 2016. The real question is, how does Bernie's message land with Trump voters in 2025?
All right, I'm going to ask you a question, and you come back to me. Sound good? All right, talk about healthcare here in Mingo County. What's the story? I see a hand right, woman right here. Please stand up.
Hi, my name is Sheila Rose, and I ended up back in Mingo County where I grew up after a chronic illness paralyzed me about 4 years ago. I've come a long way since then, but anytime I need to see a specialist, it's a 2-hour trip. Anytime I need a referral to a new specialist, it's a 6-month wait. There is no way to stay healthy in Mingo County.
And what did Trump do for this lovely older lady here? He decided to kick 17 million people off of Medicaid. That's what he did. In his first term, he kicked 2.3 million people off their health insurance. Yeah. That's what he did. He increased the price for your insurance. That's what he did. So that was his way of helping her out. And also increased the price of the medicine as he lied and said he would do the opposite. That was his contribution.
Mingo County is in the southern coal fields of West Virginia. For generations, people here dug the coal that lit America's cities and kept the factories running. Now, the coal jobs are mostly gone, and what's left is poverty on a scale that rivals anywhere in the United States.
It's crying at the grocery store, choosing between paying a bill or having food in the cabinet or the refrigerator. It affects your health, and then you don't have health care. Child care is ridiculously expensive, so it's very stressful.
Thank you very much.
Everything's like that.
Mingo County, like the rest of the state, went big for Donald Trump. So we followed up with some of...
I mean, guys, it's... in the end, it is your fault for voting for Republicans. Like, if you want your lives to be better, you can't vote for Republicans. That's the end of the discussion.
His voters over biscuits and coffee.
Yep, pretty
to find
much.
out what that's all about.
I would have been nervous with a lot of different, celebrities or politicians, but you just seem so normal. You're like obviously just like a normal human.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for the damn breakfast dinner. I'm starving.
We already ate.
I would love to take an inventory of just personal politics in the last couple of years. Can we start off with that?
You're gonna start with me?
Yeah, we'll start with you. Yeah.
I am independent, but I lean conservative. Not as much anymore as I used to, but I did vote for Trump. But I did post on my Facebook page, instead of I voted, I put I vomited because I didn't want to, but I didn't,
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I voted Republican. I agree with some things of Trump, but most I do not right now. Right. I do not, no.
And John, what's that like for you?
Well, this is my first time voting because just turned 18 right before I was able to vote. So I voted for Trump, but I'm primarily a Democrat.
Senator, who'd you vote for?
Why would you vote for Trump then, you idiot?
It wasn't Trump. Let me throw out a question. Yeah. You are living, shock of all shocks, in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. Do you feel that down here?
No. People are not surviving. We just had our food bank yesterday. We usually pack for 80 people. We served 102 yesterday. Oh. It is getting worse. Nobody's surviving right now.
Jesus Christ, I bet that's happening all across the country. That exact story. That people, everybody's struggling.
One works at the hospital, and there are several ODs every single day.
And if you just sucked it up and voted for Kamala, you wouldn't be in this bad of a situation. I'm sorry, but that is the reality. You need to suck it up like I had to do and vote for her.
A town of 6,000.
Yeah, we're not a big town.
Several ODs every day?
In a town of 6,000.
Even all of them.
Jesus.
Let me ask you this, and you may not know the answer. Nobody does. Because, again, this is not just the West Virginia issue. We got it terrible in Vermont. So why are people doing drugs?
In my thing that I see, because I work a lot in addiction, is it's mental health issues.
It's what? Mental
health issues. Lack of jobs. Lack of jobs, poverty, lack of support for our veterans.
You finding many veterans doing drugs?
Oh, yes. And homeless. And that irritates me. They stood up, they fought for our country, and we can't even afford to give them housing.
I always wondered, how did so many drugs get into this state? Do we have thoughts about that? How did so many? Yeah.
The doctor's pushing it.
Talk about that. Yeah.
I mean, my mother was an addict, and that's how she got addicted. She had a back injury. The doctor kept prescribing medicine. Eventually, that medicine didn't work, and she had to start doing the harder stuff. Sadly, she passed away from a drug overdose.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, I mean, I understand the addiction part of it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to fight. And addiction just doesn't affect the person that's doing it. It affects the whole family, the whole area.
Grow up around this kind of poverty long enough, and you start to lose faith in the political system that allowed it to happen. While Trump may put up huge numbers at the ballot box, nearly half of West Virginians don't even show up to vote at all. One of the highest non-voting rates in the country.
And I think the message is not complicated. People throughout the country, especially in rural areas, feel neglected. They are hurting financially. The Democratic Party, by and large, has kind of ignored those people, turned its back on them.
Not always, though, right?
Not always, no.
So especially here, I mean, it was 80 years of Democrats before it flipped.
You got it.
At least
This is one of the
Bernie
strongest
was
Democratic
progressive,
states in
we
the country.
don't.
Your strong union state.
Oh, yeah.
State. But I think what happened in West Virginia is a perfect example of the decline of the Democratic Party nationally.
To understand what happened to the Democratic Party in West Virginia, you need to understand the history of coal.
I'm a mine worker, generational mine worker. We built these towns, all of us.
There was a time when coal companies controlled almost everything, and speaking out against the boss could get you beaten, evicted, or worse. But in 1921, all of that boiled over at the Battle of Blair Mountain, the largest labor uprising in U.S. history.
Way back when, in the 1920s, it wasn't quite so civil. But we got to respect those people, our ancestors.
The mine wars, our own history here, is kept out of the textbooks, really.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's not in the popular imagination. I mean, that's been scrubbed because I think it's dangerous. You know, it's a threat. It's a threat to power.
Yeah.
Those early fights built the United Mine Workers of America and inspired a national labor movement that won the 8-hour day, paid vacations, and the weekend.
There's a reason they don't teach this stuff in the classroom. There's a reason they don't teach this. Because this will plant some dangerous ideas about how, hey, when we organize, we win. When we fight, we win. When we unionize, we win.
Unions
they want to hide
based.
that as much as possible.
And for decades, it was the Democratic Party who defended the unions. So working class West Virginians kept that fire going at the ballot box. But coal burns fast, and eventually the flame died out. Within a few decades, we went from over 100,000 coal miners to around 10,000 today. And only a fraction of those still unionized. As the unions shrank, so did the backbone of the Democratic Party. So the Democrats shifted their strategy. They left the coal towns and the hollers to chase corporate money and suburban votes someplace else.
For every blue-collar Democrat we will lose in West Virginia, we will pick up 2-3 moderate Republicans in the suburbs of Philadelphia.
Oh, how did that work, Schumer? Oh, that's right, Trump won. Thank you for your crappy strategy.
And you can repeat that in Ohio and Illinois and Wisconsin.
The whole valley here.
That was the death knell right there. Holy shit. Holy shit, is that horrible.
Democrat for years and years, and here the last 5 or 6 years, it has evolved into red.
West Virginia's turn from deep blue to solid red happened fast, all while hospitals struggled to stay open, classrooms emptied out, and opioids were pumped into these hills.
Yeah, and now, by the way, as you all know, because you watch this show, we're going to have at least 300 rural hospitals shut down, but that number could be as high as 742 rural hospitals are going to go under, as well as nursing homes going to be shut down, health clinics going to be shut down, all because of that big bullshit bill. And so, however bad things are now, it's going to get even worse. It's going to get even worse. The war on Medicaid is going to absolutely ruin so many of these people.
Then came Trump, who promised to turn back the clock.
Coal is coming back. Clean coal is coming back. 100%.
Donald Trump says he's going to bring back jobs to Appalachia, to the coal mining areas.
Yeah, they may do it.
You can see President Trump's bringing in all kind of industry. There's going to be jobs up the kazoo.
Look,
jobs up the kazoo.
Here's Trump president. It's not complicated, in my view.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party was about protecting the status quo and tinkering around the edges.
Yeah.
You know, we promise you we're not going to do anything bold. We're very bipartisan. We're going to work with the business community. We love billionaires. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? And Trump comes along and says the system is broken.
Nobody knows the system better than me, which is why...
Listen to how... Isn't it amazing how Bernie is older than Biden and Trump, and he sounds sane and rational and coherent, unlike brain-dead Biden and Trump?
I alone can fix it.
Yeah. And you know what? He's right. The system is broken. Now, his solutions only make it worse.
Trump, for all his promises, has not brought the coal industry back.
Oh, he lied? You don't say.
Yeah,
what a shock that is.
But with the big beautiful bill, his signature piece of legislation, he made his mark on West Virginia.
Yep.
It's estimated that more than 50,000 West Virginians will be cut from Medicaid. At least 7 hospitals in the state are at risk of shutting down, and as many as 84,000 people will lose access to food assistance because of this bill.
These demons, like, they're actual demons.
The Republican Party is evil people.
Demons.
Stop supporting
them. Like, these people
them.
are already struggling, and they want to fucking make it worse.
So in this bill, Trump's big, beautiful bill, why do you think they cut Medicaid? To save government money so that, what?
They can give tax to their donors.
Exactly. It's not only $1 trillion in tax breaks to the top 1%, it's a huge tax break to large corporations as well.
So why do they need to have a tax break?
All right.
I
now
could use
you're
a tax
asking
break.
me,
I mean, I'm being real. I know I pay like 26% taxes. Like, I could use that money.
Look, these people on top
They're greedy.
are not nice people. They want more and more. They don't have $1 million. That's chump change.
Yeah.
You need a divisive politics. You need a compelling story. And this story is true. The Republicans, the story they tell is you have to blame the immigrants and you have to blame the trans people for the reason why your life sucks. It's their fault. That's bullshit. That's not true at all. Not even close. But here's Bernie, and what do you say? These people on the top, they're not such nice people. Boy, oh boy, is that an understatement. The real problem in this country, it's the fascists and it's the billionaires. Full stop. They're the ones screwing you. They're the ones screwing you.
We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars in some case.
When you live here, it feels like a poor country.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
I mean, when you say we're the wealthiest, like you said that several times yesterday, and I was like, is it true though? Because like...
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
In aggregate, that's what, look, if we're sitting here and I'm worth $1 billion and all of you are broke, you add it all together and divide it, we're very wealthy, right? We're all worth $100 million. But I got $1 billion and you got nothing. That's America. And if I say that I think the United States should do what every other major country on earth does, guarantee health care to all people as a human right, are you going to think I'm a communist and a terrible person?
I think if people listen, if you talk the way that you did, and you're so reasonable.
Oh, you are.
Like they've painted you in a bad light, and it actually makes me very caseload. I'll just be honest. I haven't really seen you talk before. I haven't really I don't follow politics that much, and so the last couple days before this, I started watching some of your speeches, and I started watching your interviews, and I was shocked. I was like, oh,
not as bad as I told you, huh?
This is not how he's portrayed in the media, right?
Look, and that's. I mean, it's like a lighthearted, nice moment there, but this is like a big part of the problem. A big part of the problem is that Fox News has poisoned the minds of a lot of older white people. I mean, we got to call it what it is. And they've done a disservice to this country. They've effectively waged information warfare against the country. And they've convinced you that the people who are trying to help you and save this country are the problem, and the people trying to destroy the country are actually the saviors. And that the damage now is going to be just immeasurable. Immeasurable.
Apocalyptic.
And so we're laughing, but it's a serious problem.
Fucked.
Like, what do you do with Fox News, Newsmax, One America News? What do you do with the fact that now a right-wing billionaire is taking over CBS and putting Barry White, the ultra-Zionist, in control of decisions for what to run? What do you do?
How is it a retard like me doesn't fall for this shit?
The media environment has fucking ruined this country.
It's because you've got good media literacy.
Totally brainwashed.
And you're actually a decent person.
Into making people think Bernie Sanders wants to kill your grandma
conservatives
or something
online make
the
difference to give me
death
threats.
He's the one that's actually trying to save your grandma from death panels. Fucking Trump's death panels.
Because they're murdering psychopaths.
We're told that the biggest divide in America is between left and right.
I mean, it's not my fault I'm working on like them. It's not my fault I make good manga like them.
Or Burlington, Vermont, you got the same exact issues. And I think we don't let people divide us up. We got to come together to fight for all of us.
Over 100 years ago, they called us rednecks because striking workers from all different races wore red bandanas around their necks as they fought and died for respect and a living wage. That history was mostly erased from our textbooks, but it never went away. It's still here, scattered all across the state, if you know where to look.
My grandfather fought at Blair Mountain.
Your grandfather fought at Blair Mountain?
Yes.
What do you think this country at this moment needs to learn from your grandfather who fought at Blair Mountain?
Mm-hmm. Well, you just can't stand and let them step on you. You got to get up and fight.
So that is what our struggle is about, is to take on the greed of these people and say, you know what, you cannot and will not have it all.
Bernie Sanders is 84 years old. He's not running for president. But maybe what he's after is way bigger than one election.
How do we get the corporate wing of the Democratic Party, who is just as guilty of taking money from billionaire causes, to embrace a progressive working class agenda, because it's about time?
What's your name?
Max.
You're going to lead it, Max.
I honestly love that answer. He's in his 80s, man. Bernie's in his 80s. We need to clone him and have a lot more in there. By the way, just a word from Max here. If Max happens to watch this video, Max from West Virginia. Understand something, my brother? There is a big lane wide open in online media for a lefty that has a West Virginia accent, right? I mean, we love Richard Ojeda, who's running for Congress. That guy is one of the most charismatic guys on the planet, and he's got, a great accent, and he's running for office. We could use a lefty with a deep Southern accent in this space, and I'm telling you, I know it sounds goofy, I know it sounds silly, but that alone does wonders to make people who would otherwise lean right and vote Republican go, no, maybe these people are making sense on the left. You don't think silly things like that would matter? It matters. It matters.
This state was once one of the strongest Democratic states in the country. And I think people gave up on the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party gave up on them. So take it back. Don't ask, take it.
You have been to how many Bernie rallies now?
3.
And over what period of time did that take place?
2 days. The first night was just like real eye-opening for me. It was like a whole mind shift of my whole belief system of how we could come together as a people.
Yeah.
We all want our kids to have a safe place to live. We all want our kids to have food. We all want our kids to have health care. Like, there's no difference. We all need to fight together.
Yeah.
Because if we're fighting each other, we're not going to ever get anywhere.
Yeah.
So.
Did you expect to walk out of here with a shirt?
I did not expect to walk out of here with a shirt.
That's a great video. Shout out to More Perfect Union. I'm going to give it a like. That's
an awesome one.
Yeah, no war but class war, baby. That's the takeaway. It says it all. It says it all. And this could be our moment. This could be the left's moment, because people are tired of the same old Democratic establishment, corporate Democrat politics, and that's why people like Zoran are winning. I think there's going to be a rising tide of Bernie Sanders-like candidates. That's why you see, what is his name, Graham Plattner in Maine is another example. You're going to see a lot more of them, because this is where the actual energy is. This is where the enthusiasm is. This is who, has inspired the next generation. Hopefully people that watch this show feel the same thing. We need as many of these people in politics as we can get. So if you're thinking about it, just jump into the deep end, baby. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like it.
So, yeah, guys, what do you have to say about that video? Base Bernie. So, yeah, guys.
I know, it's cool.
Yeah, guys, Bernie is just right.
That
if you want your life to get better, you have to vote for progressives. And never, under any circumstances, vote for Republicans. They always,
pretty much,
always make your life miserable. Always.
Yep.
So never, ever, ever vote for Republicans. Ever. Only vote for base progressives.
Their existence is miserable.
Yes. So, yeah, guys. That is all the topics. So, see you all next time for episode 139.